Good evening, everybody. How we doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're doing well. Let's how about some warm-up music? For your listening pleasure. Please like and share, everybody. Would really appreciate that. A lot of topics to cover tonight. We are participating in the strike. So if you'd like to support us, there's a link tree in my bio now that I just made, which I think looks pretty good. There's various ways to support the channel there. Would appreciate you doing that. Yeah, I think it's appropriate that we get a little Warren Zevon, lawyers, guns, and money, because there's a lot on those topics today. So we really appreciate everybody's participation this evening. We have a lot to cover off on, a whole bunch. A whole bunch. Thank you, Warren. I met Warren Zevon back in my radio days, way back when, and I was just thinking about that since yesterday was Valentine's Day. I went out with my Valentine last night, my daughter, and I think we would all agree, for those of you, hashtag girl dad, by the way, for those of you who have daughters, I am not sure there is drama like teenage girl drama. I mean, soap operas are like, yeah, no, we're good. Anyway, it was a great night. But I was thinking back because I remember being on the air back in either late '80s or I think it was the late '80s on Valentine's Day at a radio station I was working at, and I was just coming off a relationship or whatever else. So I decided to do like an anti-Valentine's Day song. So and the request line, like, just remember the days when you could call into a radio station and make requests? Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, all kinds of songs coming in, like "Love Hurts" by Nazareth and "Love Stinks" by the J. Kyle's band. I think "The Bitch Is Back" got some of those. It was hilarious. A lot of angry folks that night, but it turned into an excellent evening, and it was really really fun. So Anthony will be joining us shortly. We'll go back to a little Warren. Yep. So the question is, that's right. Question is, where do we start? I think it's probably easier just to kind of start in order of the events of the day because we had a lot of activity today. So we know that the legal calendar is in full motion. The orange guy, there's Anthony. I'll bring him up right now. Little Warren Zevon for you, buddy. Nice, right? Anthony, you
Yeah.
there?
Can you
Hello?
hear me?
Are you there, sir? Or is that me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
How's that? Can you hear me?
Hear me now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, so much for my headphones. Um, I was just lamenting about my Valentine's Day experiences. I hope you had a lovely one with your lovely wife. Did you?
Not for Valentine's Day. Jen just got home. We just got home like
Oh, yeah.
45 minutes ago.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But I like I said in my note,
Yeah.
welcome
So
to
after I
Red Sox Nation. Welcome. Like I
thank you,
said,
I'd
dude,
like to
it's a
announce
wicked
that
pisser, dude. It's a wicked pisser. It's a wicked pisser.
I have been a lifelong Oakland A's fan, and when I say lifelong, I mean since 1974.
Okay,
So,
that counts. You're
because
allowed.
the Oakland A's, because the Oakland A's decided to diss the people and families of Oakland and move to Las Vegas, I said piss off, and I will now be a Red Sox fan. And
Okay.
my wife is trying to get into the background, but she doesn't know I got the green screen on, so There's Jen.
Hi. All right, there you go.
So, and when the wife buys you a Red Sox hat, you wear it.
Well, you should. Like I've told you many times, my friend, you married up. All right, so we have a lot to cover off on, so we might as well start with the New York case today. Today was the hearing to set the trial date, and they set the trial date as it stands right now is March 25th. So the Trump team had submitted numerous motions to kind of have the entire case dismissed, and the judge quashed that. I want to remind people of a few things. So 34 felony counts. We don't talk about this case a lot, but we should. It was the first one it was the first indictment. The first time a former president of the United States had ever been indicted. So it's historic. 34 felony indictments. If convicted on all 34, it's up to 4 years per. Yeah. State charges cannot be pardoned. Judge rejected the motion to quash the election interference case. We know that. So the trial is set for March 25th. And criminal trials, this is the interesting one. Criminal trials require a defendant to be in the courtroom. So that means that that's where his home is going to be starting March 25th. He is required to be there. And this is a documents case. And I was listening to people earlier today, and they talk about this in terms of people say it's the weakest case. It's not the weakest case. It's just the least severe from a jail time perspective. But it's a documents case. And this is election interference because, if we go back to the indictment itself, People versus Donald Trump, 34 counts of falsifying business records, checks, invoices, and general ledger entries, intent to commit or conceal another crime, including state and federal election laws, and falsifying business records in the first degree. So it's all part of a catch and kill scheme that was part of the National Enquirer, had salacious information about Trump and Stormy Daniels, along with Karen McDougal and others. And the Trump team paid money in part of a negotiation to catch and kill to suppress the story in advance of the 2016 election because he didn't want the information to come out. So that is an election interference case. So we don't talk about it enough in those terms.
Yeah, and also for those doing math at home, not that he's going to get convicted on every single count because we know that won't happen.
Right.
But if he did, that's 136 years in prison.
Yeah.
So it's not going to take very many of those charges to stick at 4 years for it to be a life sentence for him, given the fact of his age, right? So you could presuppose that someone that's physically fit that would go to the type of prison that he would go to could probably do 20, 25 years at his age and be okay. Sure. To be that unfit physically and mentally, 5 to 10 before he's expired, because the stress of that life will ruin him. What I find most interesting about this case in reading what the legal experts has been saying, this is the one slam dunk case, right? He's going to be convicted on one of the 34 counts because some of them are just kind of baked in, right? There's no denying the fact that it happened because it did happen, and there's so much evidence that it happened. I think what's going to be interesting is how many of them is he convicted of, and really what does the judge do from a sentencing standpoint, right? Because even if it's more than 20 years and you give him 20 years, that's, ultimately that's a life sentence for a guy like that. Right. So, and
they talk about, because a lot of these charges initially are misdemeanors. So it's about, because if you commit a crime, even though it's a misdemeanor what's the terminology? Basically, if you're using one crime to cover up another crime, that's that's the line that they're threading. So again, we'll see. You and I both believe in the rule of law, and we both believe in the presumption of innocence.
Sure.
Everybody demands a fair trial, but again, it's documents, it's paperwork. You pay money, you try to hide it, and that's the situation. So we'll see. So then that trial is scheduled to start March 25th with jury selection. And
Yeah.
again, the rules of the game here in a criminal trial, the defendant is required to be in court. In fact, that came up today when the judge was handing it down, saying, "Listen, you got nothing going on. You don't have a trial here. You don't have a trial there. You don't have a trial here. You don't have a trial there. You're going to be here. That's how it works."
Yep.
Um,
And he has to be quiet.
Exactly, because contempt, man, don't want to be messing around. So
Yep.
speaking of New York, we're expecting tomorrow the ruling from Judge Engeron in the civil fraud case against the Trump org. So initially, the claim was 250 million. Letitia James had asked for 370. The experts are saying it's going to come down somewhere in the middle. But the big decision is whether or not the Trump org remains in receivership and whether or not they can continue to operate in New York. So we'll see. And to be honest, I'm not sure how you feel about this, Anthony, but I think this is the one that just gets under his craw the most because it's his brand.
Yeah. Well, because it will net his brand to zero value, and then we will find out that at most, from a liquid standpoint, and by that I mean cash on hand,
Right.
he might have $5 to $10 million in actual cash. Everything else is fairy dust. I don't know if you caught this, but equally as important as to what just happened in New York, because it wasn't on our original list. Justice Department charges FBI informant with falsely alleging Joe Biden paid bribes.
I saw that.
So, Trumpers, yes, also put that one in the bank. So every single thing the GOP-led Congress and investigations about bribes and Joe Biden not only has been false this whole time, but their supposed witness, their supposed whistleblower is now going to be charged, right? So I would love to see how people are going to spin that over the next 48 hours, because with it, everything else will start to unravel, right? I know somebody in the comments in about 3 to 4 minutes is going to type Hunter Biden's laptop, or Hunter Biden's man member, but we'll let that go, right? Or people now will start talking about Fonnie Willis, right? To distract us.
That's right. And I think it's an important piece that we should call out on that topic, Anthony, is that those witnesses were identified by the Republicans on the Oversight and the Judiciary Committee that wanted to do the investigation. So they called them. They called them as their star witness. So again, MAGA's not even good at losing. They're really bad. I used to say they're really good at losing, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but they're really bad at it. They're really bad.
Yeah. And what ties into that story is the fact that the DOJ prosecutor that did the whole ageism and mental healthism of Joe Biden very well may have colluded with members of Congress. And so now, if they bring this up, the Senate gets to bring that guy in and ask him direct questions that he has to answer under oath.
Correct.
So I think two things need to happen. One, Merrick Garland needs to apologize and resign immediately, and that ass clown needs to be fired, because I rather have him just be fired and sent along his way, because really, ultimately, we already have the evidence. We already know what the GOP did with that guy. We already know there's collusion.
Sure.
Let's let that go. Let's focus on the fact that, once again, here's another bullshit made-up story about Joe Biden. And I don't know if you listen to Keith Olbermann or not. I do, because I fucking love Keith.
Me too.
He did this whole thing on all of these Jon Stewart, Chris Wallace, all of these guys that keep bringing up Joe Biden's age. He says, it just dawned on me that they're trying to say, and look at me, but I'm young. Fucking Chris Wallace is 77. He's not young. I'm sorry, 77 is not young. Right? Right? It's not old, but it's not young, right? And so he called out their hypocrisy and how there's this new double standard with Joe, right? That everybody takes any little thing he does and tries to make it about his age, right? Versus the truth is, he's been stumbling and stammering his entire life since childhood. This is not a net new phenomena, but they don't want to talk about what he's done.
Of course not.
Right, because and this is what pisses me off with supposed liberals or progressives. I am a communist, so I am neither a liberal nor progressive. What pisses me off is that these supposed enlightened people, right, are so obsessed and so fucking narcissistic about themselves that they have to feel good by calling out the one president in the last 40 years that's actually gotten shit done, right? Obama did some stuff too, not as much in a same time frame as Joe Biden has. So you can't be suffering mental lapses and dementia and having had passed all of this legislation in the short time frame that he did. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
And that's what Donald Trump's been trying to do his entire life. Have it both
You
ways.
can't be a crime boss either. You can't have.
Yeah.
You can't be both.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. And then I've managed to get through almost the entire, the special counsel's report on Robert Hur's report, on and around page 250. If you get a chance, you should read that. That's really blows up the entire issue about willful intention. It blows up the entire thing. It's nonsense. So that's really interesting. Yeah. I think that whole case is going to just going to explode in the GOP's lap, especially when we find collusion. I'm 100% on board about firing Merrick Garland, though. 100% on board.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's you know what? Honestly, he shouldn't have been given the job in the first place.
I think it was a favor. I think it was a nod to the fact that you didn't get the Supreme Court seat.
And I think
reputationally, I think what the Biden administration wanted to do was try to say, look, we need to restore the reputation of the Department of Justice. It needs to be separate and independent and to be run like adults. So but
none of that happened.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
And given his actions, I'm actually quite ecstatic he wasn't put on the court. He would have been all of the things he's doing indicates to me that he would have gone along with Justice Roberts. That he's not a progressive, he's not a leftist, he's a fucking right down the middle centrist. And every time we get a centrist on the court that people think is a liberal, what happens to them?
Yeah, it's true. They get swallowed up. That's true. That's a good point.
Unless somebody can point to one historically that hasn't done that.
No, also we can point to the delay in prosecution. The whole process about how, again, you're trying not to seem political. You lean too far in to become apolitical, and look what's happened. Now we're talking about timelines. But speaking of Merrick Garland and the special counsel office, we know that Jack Smith was given till Monday to respond to the motion by the Trump team to basically say we can do whatever the hell we want. He did it, of course, last night because Jack Smith's the boss, and basically said, "This is ridiculous. Why are you guys even bothering to hear this case?" So they're going to make a decision. I would bet we're going to hear from the Supreme Court before the end of February, which means that after Trump is, and they're going to deny the motion because it's just bullshit. Which means that after he's found guilty, again, that's my assumption and my prediction. I'll say my prediction is that he'll be found guilty in New York. That trial will start up again because March 25th is when jury trial. Alvin Bragg has said he needs about a month for that trial, so that puts us at the end of April. So then they're talking about mid-May to early June for the J6 trial to start. So he'll be a convicted felon by then. And then he'll only have to wear an orange jumpsuit into court. It matches makeup. Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
This is once the Supreme Court, and I agree. I think that they have no choice. They just have to dismiss because it's just the rule of law has to matter to even conservative jurists, right? But once this happens, now let's say that goes in Jack Smith's favor, which again, he's the fucking GOAT. Like that guy just has shit in his back pocket. He pulls it out, runs a spell check and sends it, right? Like the guy's fucking so prepared. It doesn't matter about the Florida Mar-a-Lago case now. Like that is in its order of importancy. It's like so unimportant right now because it's from a trial that, like, I don't care when that judge sets the trial date. It's not going to matter once it happens. Sure. Because there's not going to be a jury pool in the entire world that's not going to look at the totality of all the other charges.
Right.
and then be able to say beyond a reasonable doubt that he didn't fucking lie and deceive and do all the stuff we already have evidence for, right? So it's going to be like the sprinkles on top of a sundae, delicious, nice to look at. I don't necessarily need it, but I'll take Jimmy's for a New England reference when I can get them, right?
Correct.
So that's what I'm thinking. And also, then I'm waiting for Jack Smith to say something about her and her delay tactics and her unpreparedness and her not understanding how to be a judge, right? So maybe in the end, this also gets her to kind of realize she's way over the tip of her skis.
Yeah, and then more evidence keeps coming out. Like they're finding,
Yeah.
We know that some witnesses were intimidated. We know that Judge Chutkin was Judge Cannon was asked to kind of protect those witnesses, and she's been slow on the draw to do that. So it seems like there may be judicial incompetence. I don't know what the actual terms are, but it's interesting. You might be right about that. And then that kind of leads us into our next topic, which was the absolute bombshell Fani Willis testimony today. I didn't hear all of it. I was working, but I was listening to some of it. And so what this entire case is about, MAGA, before you guys lose your shit, this entire issue, the reason that she's in court, are you eating a candy bar? There you go. Is because it's got nothing to do with prosecutorial misconduct. What they're trying to determine, what the defense is saying in this case, because the defense, the defendants in this case are the ones that brought these allegations, saying that there's a financial conflict of interest between Nathan Wade and Fani Willis. So you've got two people who testified today, Nathan Wade and Fani Willis, both said, no, we paid our own bills. We have a relationship. It's not illegal. I hired him before we had our relationship. So that's the entire case. I will say this. If she lied and he lied, then throw her off the case.
Yeah.
If she lied about this and they can prove it, then throw her off the case. If they throw her off the case, what that means is the entire case is done. Because it's the DA's office, which means that trial is done. If she recused herself, then they would start from scratch. They wouldn't have to get a new indictment, but they would have to sort of reassign the case. So once again, it's going to come down to whether or not the judge feels like there's a financial conflict of interest. I don't see how. I don't know. From what I saw, I don't see how that is.
Although
they'll pick up
important life lesson to be learned here. No one cares if you have a relationship with another person.
Correct.
But if you happen to have a relationship with somebody in your office, it is incumbent upon you to come forward immediately, memorialize that in an email, let your boss know so that your boss can cover your ass when this stuff happens, right? So everybody needs to know that most employers have these things in place. Apparently the DA's office didn't, which I find rather ironic that a bunch of lawyers didn't think about having that kind of a policy, but hopefully going forward to protect her reputation,
that's right,
they would go through some kind of a process. Because at the end, Nathan's testimony cleared up all the misconceptions from the original questions he was asked. So he cleared that up. And then Fani was able to come in and add more clarification to like the time frame of the relationship. So I would think that on its face, the judge may be like, hey, maybe you should have let people know that this had happened.
Court of public opinion, it's not a good look. I'm with you. They should have been more forthright, but they've done nothing wrong. It doesn't change
Correct.
the fact. It doesn't change the facts in this case.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the most important part, is that all the things Trump is accused of there, we know he did, because again, and note to future wannabe criminals, don't keep records of things you don't want people to find out about.
That's right.
There's a country in Europe that had such meticulous records that we were able to find, track down, and bring people to trial because of their need for record keeping.
That's correct. That's
so.
correct. Just a little sort of a disclaimer on that case. Again, can you hear me okay? Does it sound okay? Somebody just said it's muffled. Does it sound all right?
It sounds fine. Am I muffled?
No, you're fine. Anyway,
Okay.
it just me. Again, a state case, which means he would not be eligible for a pardon if convicted. It's a
Right.
it's a unique situation in Georgia because the governor can't even pardon someone. There's a pardon board and or a parole board, and the way that it works is that you have to serve a portion of your sentence before you can even be considered for pardon. So once again, if there are convictions in that case, that would apply to everybody. But in particular, that question about self-pardon. So we'll see.
Right.
So there's a lot to consider there. But we'll be happy to talk about that. I want to jump into a few other things that we can talk about too, because there's a lot.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's jump into some more here. So let me get to the next. Hold on.
Oh, we can see your background. There
That's
you go.
It's this one.
Oh, you're putting up a new.
Yeah.
Aha.
Okay, so the situation with NATO, I don't think people realize the danger of the things that the twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing fraudster has claimed. The amount of lies that he's been telling on the campaign trail as it relates to NATO, and we'll get to that in just a second, but specifically it's about him making these claims that NATO isn't paying their bills. It's a bold-faced lie. It does not work that way. And by the way, for people who think that we shouldn't be supporting NATO countries, the only time Article 5 has ever been called in was after 9/11. Because a NATO country, the United States, was attacked. And our allies were on the ready to come help us. That's how it
And
worked.
did.
And
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And absolutely did. And absolutely did. The intelligence information that we get from NATO alone is absolutely worth it. So I want to go back. It's really, really important from a context perspective that we hear the words of the guy who thinks that we should be pulled out of NATO. So hold on. Stand by. Stand by. My bad.
Was that the Fabulous Thunderbirds?
That was Warren Zevon.
Oh, close.
Yeah, very close. I played Lawyers, Guns, and Money to start because I thought it was appropriate.
Nice.
Said you got to pay up. And after that question, one of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
Okay, so I want to unpack that a little bit. So the former president of the United States, we already know that he bends the knee to dictators and to autocrats. We already know that. So he's telling our allies around the world that if you don't pay your bills, which they're not responsible to do, a person who doesn't pay his bills complaining to somebody else to pay their bills. Anyway, I digress. Telling our NATO allies that if you don't pay your bills, then I would encourage Vladimir Putin to invade you. So if we were to fact check that a little bit, the claim again was that Donald Trump was pressuring NATO to pay more. Once again, the requirement to be a NATO member is that you're asked to pay 2% of your GDP to your own military in support of the NATO alliance. There's no bank. They don't keep it. It's 2% of your GDP in your country as a NATO member towards the NATO alliance. So obviously countries with the larger GDP like ours will pay more. That's how it works. So under President Biden, this is from, where did I get this article? This is from CNN, but it talks, this is from NATO estimates. Under President Biden, non-U.S. NATO members increased their defense spending by 2.8% in 2021, an estimated 2% in 2022, then by an estimated 8.3% in 2023. That large spike obviously relates to the invasion of Ukraine. So once again, the point is the lies that he's telling about NATO are dangerous because our allies hear it and the world hears it, which is exactly what Putin wants. That's exactly what he wants, because Without the U.S. in NATO, there is no more NATO.
That's correct.
And it's the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, meaning think about the establishment of NATO, why it came about, to fend off Russian aggression. The fact that we have a person running for president to make these claims about NATO is just absolute bullshit, and it's dangerous, and he's doubling down on it. So I want to remind people once again, he's going to continue to tell you that NATO has not been paying their bills. It's bullshit. It's an absolute lie. Again, the requirement is to be a NATO member. 2% of GDP is what the expectation is, and that goes to pay your own military to support the NATO alliance. That's how it works.
Right. And the people in the comments, this is not a country club. There are no dues or fees collected by NATO. Now,
Exactly.
I am sure that a figurative hat gets passed to help pay for administrative things. I'm sure that the United States, England, France, and so forth help pay for certain things out of their discretionary budget within military matters. But I don't think there's any other actual dues or fees. And if you go to the U.S. State Department, there's a section on the minimum requirements for NATO membership. So you can even see what our government says about this. And I think it's funny. I keep seeing in the comments, oh, people aren't paying enough. Again, this is not Mar-a-Lago Country Club.
Yeah, this
Right.
isn't buying tickets to the prom, right? I mean, literally, that's what the NATO alliance was built on. It was established that countries that are in NATO pay. I mean, now some people have not paid their 2%, but that they don't owe it to us. But again, under Joe Biden, more countries are now paying not only their share, but they've increased their payments by between 2 and 2.8%, and 8.3% last year. So again, enough of the nonsense. You're being lied to. You don't have to believe Anthony and I, a couple of graybeards. Don't bother. Don't believe us. Just go read what the charter is. You'll understand it for yourself, and then understand that you're being lied to. Yes, sir.
There are 5 requirements in order to be considered a member for membership. Uphold democracy, including tolerance for diversity. Be progressing toward a market economy. Have their military forces under firm civilian control. Be a good neighbor and respect the sovereignty of other nations, and work toward interoperability with NATO forces. That last one is where the 2% of your GDP comes in.
Correct. And then in Article 5, as we all, just to be clear, Article 5 means if any NATO country is attacked, then they all come to your defense. And that's the point.
Yes.
All right. So there's another lie that he told, but I can't find it here. Where is it? He talked about the 100% thing, about how he said the U.S. is paid 100%, not even close, 68%. That's our contribution based on the fact that our GDP is higher. That's how the math works. So again, another lie. All right, where are we going now? So Francis, you don't have mod powers? I'm sorry. I can do that, I think. So Francis, just say hi in the chat and I can do that for you. Because my mods are off. She used to.
Right? Or am I? Oh, is this your backup?
No, this is my main.
Oh.
Hold on. She's got it. Francis, you have it, my friend. You've got extra special. I gave you the extra secret mod power that gives you the ability to make ice cream sundaes while you're being a mod. I am not lactose intolerant. Just so you know, a little inside baseball.
Could you imagine if that was actually a thing? I'd be about 800 pounds.
I'm Italian. I would have been disowned. All right. Let's move to another topic here. Let me see if I can do this without having to. Let's go to here. I want to go to this one. Yes. No, I'm going to wait on that one. No, let's talk about this one right now. Because, again, I mentioned this in a live the other day, and I was in a right-wing live, and as soon as I dog walked the creator. By the way, I go to MAGA Live, so you don't have to. And I would take my advice, don't bother. So the idea behind the Republican Party making claims that they are the most fiscally responsible, we have data that goes back to, what do you got, buddy? Well, what were those?
Devil dogs.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, my wife brought me a box. Want one?
Well, no, I brought them for me as well.
Oh, apparently I have to share, Jen says.
Yeah, Jen, sharing is caring. Come on, seriously. Come on, Jen.
I know, I'm married up. Thanks for reminding me.
So there is so much information about
Regular and chocolate covered ones.
Oh wow.
That's a chocolate covered one. It's
Since
like
the 30s, the U.S. economy has done significantly better under Democrats at a rate of 4.6% growth compared to 2.4% for Republicans. This goes back to the 30s. We've even got deeper data than that. We know for a fact. Where's that information? I think I sent it. I think I sent you that link.
I think so. I'm finding it.
So Department of Labor statistics, since World War II, the U.S. economy has performed better on average under the administration of Democrats than Republicans. The reasons are debated, and the observation applies to economic variables including job creation, GDP growth, stock market returns, personal income growth, and corporate profits. Unemployment rate has risen on average under Republican presidents, while it's fallen on average under Democratic presidents. Budget deficits relative to the size of the economy were lower on average for Democrats. 10 of the 11 U.S. recessions between 1953 and 2020 began under Republican presidents. So I think there's another important stat since we crossed a milestone, not one that our country should be proud of, quite frankly, but we crossed the 34 trillion debt milestone. I think it was a few days ago. So let's look back, shall we? So if we go back to the Clinton era, Bill Clinton, 8 years as president. First of all, we know he was the only president, at least in modern times, that ever left us with a budget surplus. He contributed $1.4 trillion in debt. Here, keep the math for me here, buddy. So Bill Clinton, Democrat, $1.4 trillion in 8 years. George W. Bush, $6.1 trillion in 8 years. Barack Obama, $8.34 million in 8 years. Donald Trump, $8.2 trillion in 4 years. And so far, Joe Biden, $1.84 trillion. So I believe from simple math, you'll get 14 trillion from 16 years of Republican presidencies and 11 million for 16, 18, 19 years of Democratic presidencies. So once again, the major contributors to our debt are Republicans. Debt being different than deficit. Deficit, also the biggest drivers are Republican. We look at tax cuts. Again, you're concerned about the national debt? Then tell us how that $1 trillion tax cut, giving it to the rich people, how does that land for you? So the point is, economically speaking, every single data point you want to look at, every one favors Democratic policies. Job growth, GDP, inflation, unemployment rates, income, personal growth, or personal income growth, it's not debatable. It's just not debatable. I know MAGA, you guys don't like stats. I understand. Now, there's a difference between macroeconomics and micro, but even at the micro level, we all know this. So I'll remind people, prior to Reagan, the corporate tax rate was, I think, 53, 54%, somewhere in that range. Coming from World War II up and through the 60s and the 70s, into the 80s, prior to the Reaganomics, that was the explosion of the middle class. That's when the middle class was thriving. So when the suburbs were built, that's when we were absolutely thriving as a nation because corporations and the richest among us were paying their fair share. I think the highest tax rate was 90% individual. May not have been that high, but I bet damn close to that in that era. So again, MAGA, Republicans, when you hand out corporate welfare to the people who don't need it, it doesn't trickle down. It does not work. It's been proven time and time and time and time again. We have 100 years of data to tell us that our economy does better under Democrats. 100 years. How much more do you need? Our economy grows twice as fast under Democrats than it does under Republican presidents. Spending is not the issue, friends. It's deficit. It's deficit. When you are handing out tax cuts, you can't replace that revenue. Happens all the time.
Yeah, and here's a really simple way to explain this to those that don't like math, because I know there's a lot of you out there, and I get it. You don't have to love math the way I do. If I agree to spend $100 and I know that I'm going to be getting $100 in revenue, but then I pull a trick out of the rabbit's hat and I remove the mechanism, which is tax collection, from allowing me to collect my $100 in revenue. That's how that happens. Congress under Republicans will pass legislation that purposefully disallows the income to pay for the things that they most likely in a bipartisan manner approved to spend money on.
Right.
And people in the middle class, the working class people who get paid hourly, union labor, people that work with their hands, people that work in service industry, that vote for Republicans, you are continuing to take money that was set aside to pay for things to help you.
That's right.
And then have the rug pulled out from under your feet. And then what the GOP does next is they turn around and they say, see, government doesn't work. Government isn't the problem. It's like they want to piss on your leg and tell you it's raining. And you keep buying into it.
That's right.
Math cannot lie.
I want to just a topic real quick. So South Pacific, your comment is Biden's had 3 years to remove tax breaks from rich people. He didn't, so I guess he likes them. Here's the problem. There's an understanding that's required for tax law. When tax law is written, it means written in for typically 10 years. We are still operating under the Trump tax cut. Biden can't change it. It requires new tax law, and laws are passed by Congress. I think they expire next year. So when that was initiated in 2017, it was an immediate bump for all of us. We all got a tax rate. The rich was permanent. It was graduated for everybody else, meaning our tax rate has gone up every single year since. So that's the answer to your question, Sal. If you were asking South Pacific to learn, then hopefully you've learned, because we are still running under the Trump tax policy. So that's how it works.
Which is another reason why we need tax reform.
Correct.
Right. Not only do we need integration reform, because that INA was written in 1952, I believe the entire basis for the modern capitalism structure of taxes was written in the late 50s also. So we've been going off of data points. By the way, this is my favorite. Thank you for putting that up there. We've been going off of data points that are so expired and so far out of touch. It's no wonder why we find ourselves in the situation that we find ourselves in.
It's true. I mean, the entire system, the fact that we have tax code that literally is bulletproof when it's signed into law, meaning that it cannot be changed during that time if the proverbial shit hit the wall. Not by, I mean, I guess you could try an executive order, but it would fail in the courts because you're violating the law.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that, again, something to keep in mind, Republicans, again, you ask yourself about this spending. You ask yourself about inflation. You ask yourself about all these things, right? It's your party that's responsible for it. It's your party that continues to favor corporate greed. It's your party that is unwilling to pass legislation against price gouging. It's your party that's unwilling to raise tax rates for the richest and for corporations. That's you. We have 100 years of data. How much more do you need? All right, so let's talk about. I want to preface this conversation by saying thank you to Republicans for handing the border situation on a silver platter to Democrats, because the cynicism regarding the border and your inability to even pass legislation that you wanted allows the Democrats to campaign on that. So thank you very much. It came up in the special election in New York. That election was an absolute blowout. That district, Nassau County, just east of the Bronx, was a district that Joe Biden won by +4 in 2020. George Santos won by 7 in 2022. And Tom Suozzi, who's now the newest member of Congress, flipped that seat by 8 points, a 15-point swing. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, literally tried to blame the weather.
Yeah, the snow that was done by 3 p.m.
Correct. Tried to blame the weather.
Yeah.
So we also have, and I want to, this is important. So this is where my political science background comes in, because if you look at the landscape, that's the kind of district, that affluent suburb of metropolitan centers that Republicans, not independents, when the RNC needs their voters, that's where they need them from. If they can't get those affluent suburbs, then it's game over. So the model has now been, the die has been cast, as they say. So you've got, we can obviously going to continue to run on abortion, going to continue to run on threats to democracy, going to continue to run on, all the amazing things that Joe Biden, the Biden administration, Democrats have done for the middle class. And thank you, we can run on the border too, proving that the Republicans don't want to do anything about the border at all. So thank you. So they will use that. If they're smart, there's about 33 districts across the country in a variety of states, red and blue states, that are either open currently or will be open in 2024 or have a GOP in that seat. So they gave us the formula. Thank you. Thank you very much. Everybody that connects with Trump loses. Everybody. Trump-backed candidates associating with Donald Trump, using Donald Trump's rhetoric, you lose. Period. Going back to after 2016, you lost special elections in 2017, midterms in 2018, special elections in 2019, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, special elections in 2021. We know what happened with that red wave in 2022, special elections this year, ballot measures in Kansas and Idaho and Iowa and Ohio, and I'm expecting a blue freaking tidal wave. Buckle up, MAGA. Buckle up. So, we had a long list, and there was a lot of things, and thankfully Anthony told me to pare it down because it was longer. but there is, like I said, I had a stream of consciousness. I was writing to 3 clients today, so I was in that mode. But that's the reality of what we're talking about here. So the question to Republicans, if I was a strategist and I was hired to bring in, I would say, why are you guys still connecting to Donald Trump? Why aren't you running from him as fast as possible? Don't you guys want to win elections? Because he's not going to help you. He's not going to help. Are you ready to jump in, sir?
Yeah,
let's roll.
Let's do it. Thank
you all. Continue to like and share. Really appreciate that. Thanks very much. Okay, Davism. I don't know. You don't touch Democrats. Okay, that's fine. The Magic Makers does not look like you're connecting. Please request again, though. We'll bring you up. We'll bring you back up. So again, the question for you, MAGA, and this isn't out of left field. This is an opinion. This is fact. You lose elections over and over and over and over again. The RNC worked hard. They had a lot of success in Long Island in particular. Surprises. In New York and California, some surprise wins in the 2022 midterms, which allowed you to win majority in the House. You squandered it. You can't legislate. Yep. Voters are not stupid, especially in those areas. So if you're going to lose your own voters because of all this bullshit, you're certainly not going to get independence. So it's game over. It's game over.
Does Southern Pacific have enough followers to get in the box?
I don't know. Southern Pacific, get the box. What are you afraid of?
Probably we don't bite. I mean, I'll bite my sandwich or my devil dog that I have here, but I will not bite you.
Come on, South Pacific. We want to talk to you. We just want to have a conversation. That's all. Just a conversation. So we can talk about anything you want this evening, friends. We have a lot on our minds. We're going to continue to focus on what's happening in Georgia. So there's so much going on. There's so much. Drink your water. Say something kind about yourself, Mr. Jones. Hi, Joyce. How are you tonight?
Didn't mean to come in. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We got you. No worries.
I am so sorry.
It's okay. Thank you for.
I usually don't do that.
It's okay. Thanks a lot. Want me to drop you down?
Yes, you can let me out.
You got it. No problem. It's so funny. I love when people do that. It's almost like they apologize. You don't have to apologize. Like I said, we don't bite. So this administration is horrendous. Focus on that. So KKM, get in the box. You don't have enough followers.
Dems don't know how to listen to the truth and can't accept the truth. Who was that? Who spewed that? The one guy 2.0 request, get in the box.
Get in the box. Get in the box.
You got enough followers.
Yeah, I want to hear the conversation. Like I want to have that conversation about what we've said is not true or inaccurate. Well, we'll have it on the. Good evening, Justin. How are you tonight?
Hey, how are you guys?
We're very well. How are you?
Pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
We got you. What's on your mind?
Awesome. I'm not opposition, so it's the first time I ever tried to join a live, so I just wanted to make sure it worked.
Welcome.
Anyhow, I love you guys. Listen to you every night. Can't wait to have a live where we could basically say F you to MAGA, once it all plays out,
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we all believe in the rule of law. We all want everybody deserves a fair trial, whatever happens. But trials aside, on the political horizon, it does not look good for the GOP. That's for sure.
The thing with MAGA is they're just all about beliefs. You know what I mean? There's no basis in fact whatsoever.
You're right. It's all about their feelings. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. I'll join again. And
Thanks, Justin.
keep up the good work, man. You guys do great work.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, man.
Have a good night. You well. Yeah, so we are participating in the strike for the remainder of the month, and I finally have I had to reset the entire app. It looks like everything is finally working well, so I appreciate that. If you would like to support the channel, there is you guys. So I've confessed that I am not the most technically savvy guy in the world. So I want to give a shout out to my brother Nemo, who helped me get my Linktree set up. My Linktree is on my bio, and there's some cool stuff in there. There's opportunities to contribute to the channel. There's a Rock the Vote registry. Are you registered to vote? If not, it's really simple and easy. I even put a link to the Constitution. That's up there too. So there's a lot of really cool resources. But again, share the love. Share the love. And we need to get you on Linktree. I can help you with that.
Yeah, I know. I just have to be careful with what and how I do stuff.
I know. I got you. Good evening. Do we refer to you as Uncle Rusty or Rusty the Clown? I'm not even sure anymore.
At this point, I think I'm going to make a separate account for Uncle Rusty the Clown.
Please do.
Although he'll make appearances from time to time. I actually just jumped in because I wanted to pick a bone with Anthony. What kind of a psycho does math at home? I mean, seriously. When you said, for those of you doing math at home, and I'm thinking, what kind of a fruitcake does math at home? Jesus.
Well, in my defense, I do run both businesses out of my home, and I enjoy doing mathematics as a mental exercise to stay sharp. And that includes calculus and trigonometry. So these are things that I enjoy doing, and nerds rule the world. That's all I have to say.
There are multiple kinds of nerds. I mean, I can quote Shakespeare. I can define warp drive better than I can, balance my checkbook. But, so yeah, I agree with you on the nerd part, but math? Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in high school, freshman in high school, and I was taking my first algebra class, I'd taken pre-algebra, and I'm taking my first algebra class, and the teacher, day one, puts a equation on the board as an example of a algebraic equation. And she writes A plus B equals C. And she's about to explain this, and I threw my hand up, and I said, no, it doesn't. And she said, I beg your pardon? I said, no, A plus B does not equal C. She said, well, okay, then what does it equal? I said, ab. And she said,
Oh, my God.
You're going to be a humanities major, aren't you? I said, yep, English. So,
yeah. So Rusty, I'm sort of with you. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him well. So anybody who says that, again, I love you, Anthony, but I'm trying to get over the fact that you said I enjoy doing math at home.
Well, and then he doubled down and said he enjoyed doing calculus and trig. Like, oh my God.
I am incredibly interested in applied mathematics. I find it fascinating. I like to attend webinars about applied mathematics. I like to learn more about the maths that's behind blockchain technology and distributed ledger technology, and I find those things rather fascinating. And I know that that puts me in a really small percentage of people on the face of this earth. But we all have a particular set of skills. Liam Neeson's is sounding scary while talking about skills, and mine is the love of mathematics.
I lost you after you said I.
Yeah, and and I'm thinking, gosh, my hobbies were, wanton women and illicit behavior. What was I thinking? I could have been at home
I'm
doing
sorry.
that.
Your hobbies were?
Okay, I'm were as in up to about a minute and a half ago. I'm changing. I'm changing.
So,
And you know what? It's funny. I watched a documentary yesterday on Netflix on the concept of infinity, and it was all mathematicians and astrophysicists, but they threw in a couple of philosophers just to screw it up.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a whole interesting dynamic between the philosophy of mathematics, right?
Yeah.
So it's super cool. One of the things you have to also understand is that I'm really close to the Jet Propulsion Lab in Caltech, and I have a lot of mentors and friends at MIT. So this may explain some of those things to you.
So 432 hertz. You asked how much Soros is paying us. I sent you an invite. Come up in the box and we'll tell you.
God, can I just say, seriously, as a small business owner, I would love it if a billionaire would give me some money, especially if it didn't have tax implications. What I could do for my community if Mr. Soros would be willing to sponsor myself as an individual human being, or even just hire my company to do a really small project.
Totally.
I'd almost do it for free just so I could brag on LinkedIn that I did a project for Soros in one of his companies.
That's right. When I went into business for myself about 10 years ago, I lost this again. I got it. When I went into business for myself about 10 years ago, the plan was to work less and make more money. That did not work out the way that I wanted it to.
If George Soros is writing us checks, isn't that technically trickle-down economics?
Interesting.
And isn't that something they would support?
Oh.
I think what MAGA believes is trickle down your leg economics. Personally, that's what I think they believe. But, yeah. So, Rusty, your thought? Did you see any of or hear any of the testimony today, and the Georgia trial, or did you hear anything from the New York case? Any thoughts on either one of those?
I did, and I was trying real hard not to gut laugh. Fonnie Willis is badass.
She is.
She just chewed those attorneys a new one, and the judge wasn't having any of it.
Yeah.
This is not going to go well for them.
No, like Anthony and I were talking about earlier, public perception is important, and from a public perspective, it doesn't look good. I mean, I think we can all agree on that. But there's no conflict there. There's no prosecutorial.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I just think that they need to get over themselves. They really do. They really need to get over themselves. And I love how we get the MAGA, the trolls, the TikTok lawyers saying Fanny's lying. How do you know that? How do you know that?
Yeah.
How do you know that, Howie? Get in the box, Howie. Oh, Howie, you've only got 28 followers, and you got Vin Diesel as your profile picture. Howie, really? Wow. Anywho. Well, thank you, Rusty. I appreciate. We always enjoy talking to you, bro. It keeps our perspective, and from one Shakespeare nerd to another. Et tu, Brute.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, buddy. Later.
Stay frosty.
Stay frosty. Stay clowny. So again,
what happened to South Pacific? Where'd South? I haven't seen South Pacific in the comments.
I don't know. I mean, MAGA.
Did they get bored?
Probably. They
Wait,
probably
wait.
got
I
bored.
have a question. Nikki
That's Nikki.
says.
You can jump in, Nikki. Block me because you believe in the First Amendment? Jump. You don't have enough followers. You can't join the live. Sorry, it's not our problem. It's just the way it goes.
Also, this
to
is
tell you.
a app with terms of service. The First Amendment doesn't apply here.
Yeah, and
Right.
we're not a democracy in here either. So
This is
Right,
a
we're-
cheerocracy. Damn it!
It's Nikki's dictatorship.
damn right. I just
What do
get
you-
permission from facts.
That's right.
First of all, I want to say Fannie Willis is a badass bitch today. She walked into that courtroom in her hot pink suit, and that place stopped dead. It was fabulous. I want to be her when I grow up.
I hear you.
Yeah, I want to be her. I have a question, actually.
Ask
So
away.
I would like to know why it matters that Fannie Willis got laid, but it doesn't matter that Trump paid off a porn star.
It's an interesting question.
Now,
It's a very
Wow.
interesting
I also
question.
understand that he was in her office, but and yes, that doesn't look bad. But from the testimony that I heard from all three people today, the disgruntled employee who, God, she did not want to be there and was very disgruntled, and the other two people, and the judge, oh God, that attorney, by the way, went to the same law school as Alina Habba, because for fuck's sake, good Lord, I swear to God, did she had to, Cracker Jack boxes, I think, are giving out law school things, because never once have I had to see so many judges tell attorneys how to ask questions. But I want to know from the MAGA guys, why does it matter that Fannie Willis had a booty call, which it wasn't, it was a relationship, but it doesn't matter that Trump has cheated on all three wives with a porn star, with an adult star, had to pay them off? Like, that doesn't matter to them, but this does. And for the record, her getting that, sorry.
Okay.
For the record, her getting that has nothing to do with the grand jury indicting him, because
Nope.
it had nothing to do with her.
No, but I want to be clear. I want to be clear about this, because if we do find out that she lied, then I want to remove her
Then
from the
she
case,
should be off the case.
I want her to be held accountable.
100%, absolutely, and he should be accountable too. It shouldn't just be her. They should both.
Totally.
They should both be taken out of the district attorney's office.
Totally.
They should both 100%, absolutely. But if she's not lying, and there's proof that this it just happened to be around the time, but there was no correlation to this, I still want to know why it matters that she got it, but doesn't matter that he did.
Yeah. Again, traditional tattoos. Jump in the box. You said she already lied. Jump in the box so we can talk about it. Yeah. No, you're right, Nikki. I mean, it's something you won't. I don't think the judge was buying it, because they were trying to make the. We had two people, the two people in question, Nathaniel Wade and Fannie Willis, both saying there's nothing to see here, and their stories were consistent, and they couldn't refute it. They couldn't refute it on the other side. So I think it's a done deal, and that case will happen when it happens.
Yeah, I think it was interesting how the judge.
Yeah.
There's so many attorneys there that they had to go into the second row and the third row.
I know.
And by the end, they were like, ask questions. And the final one was like, I only have one question, but he was like, we've covered this already. Like,
I know. I've got a guess in the box, Nikki. I appreciate you jumping in.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, MAGA, why that matters to you.
They will never answer. Thank you, my friend. Talk to you later.
You're welcome. No hate
Bye.
speech. Stop it. Be respectful to anybody in the box, or we'll kick you.
Appreciate
And
nice.
tap the screen. Tap.
And Cash App is in his bio. Go over, support him, and Anthony.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I love you. Bye.
All right.
Cool.
Good
Well, to
evening.
answer that,
Hold on.
okay, sorry, my bad.
Good evening, Traditional Tattoos. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening.
How
I'm
are you?
good. How are you?
We're doing good. So
Good.
you said that she's already lied. What does she lie about?
Well, the fact they lied about when their relationship started. I
No,
mean,
they
that
didn't.
was the first lie. I mean,
How do you know?
that's what
How do you know
because
that?
people that surround her who were on that got interviewed about it have said so. So
So
it's not coming from
hold
anybody
on, Anthony.
else besides her
Well,
inner circle.
okay. So the
Okay.
people. So don't forget, the defense team called witnesses, and the only person that testified was the woman that used to work in Fonnie Willis's office, who was let go, and she made a claim that the relationship started before Nathaniel Ward was hired to the team,
Correct.
and Nathaniel Ward and Fonnie Willis refuted that. So the judge has to decide who he believes.
Correct. It's not just the one that was at the trial today. They have other people who have written testimonies
Nope.
that have stated the
No,
same
that's not a
fact.
testimony. That's not a
Yes, it is.
testimony.
A
No,
written
traditional.
statement. I apologize.
That
You're right.
okay.
A written statement. Okay.
Okay,
So
but
if
that's
hold on.
traditional.
Okay.
No,
Hold
bro.
on.
No,
Wait,
bro. Hold on a second.
okay. So it's funny I can't talk and make my
I will
statement.
give you a
But
chance.
no, but you're
Bro,
interrupting me already.
I will
You're
give
already
you a
interrupting me.
chance.
This is
Stop.
Traditional
this is the
tattoo. This
left
is not
and
your
the
Stop.
right.
life.
No,
Stop,
it
bro.
doesn't matter.
It does
When
matter.
somebody is talking.
Okay, once again, this is how this works. I'm asking you questions.
No, incorrect. If you're a professional and
Okay. Are you gonna cry
if
some
you're
more?
an adult, you let somebody
Oh, is that right? Okay.
you let
Okay.
somebody
Okay.
finish
So
their.
this is how this works. Okay, this is how this works. If they have witnesses that want to testify to refute their statements, then they will bring him. The claim that you made is that she's already lied. So I want you to tell me how it is that she already lied. Now you can unmute.
Because of the written statements by a number of people that
Right,
have
but
stated that, dude. So that's just you guys all stand on the grand jury of Trump and that he was
okay.
put and that he got he got all that defamation because the grand jury found him guilty, right?
No, they
And
didn't. They
they
didn't find him guilty.
or the jury the civil jury did, okay? Right? So the grand jury has brought up Fannie Willis on these charges. So people
No,
have heard
they have
this.
not. No,
The
traditional.
state what is it with the it's not a
Bro,
grand jury when the state does it. When the state does it.
stop.
The state's the
Bro,
one that is
pump
the
the
state.
brakes. Pump
Hold
the
on.
brakes.
The
No,
state is
bro,
okay, I'm out.
pump the
Good job.
brakes.
Hey, no, you gotta let me fucking finish a fucking statement. You guys never
Woo!
let anybody
Ooh.
You were all up in your feelings,
Wow.
bro. Relax. Take a
Just
breath.
No, you guys are horrible. Let somebody finish fucking talking.
Not if you're yelling.
Telling lies.
I'm
and
yelling because you guys won't let me
Stop
fucking
yelling.
talk. Fuck you.
Dude,
Bye.
grow up. Grow up.
You won't grow up.
Oh
Grow
my
up.
God. Listen.
Fucking
hold on.
man-child.
Seriously. Listen. Let's clear something up. If he was an adult
Yeah.
enough, we could have had the conversation. What the claim that he was making was that Fonnie Willis lied because other people said that she lied. He
Right.
doesn't have proof that she lied. She's saying, no, this is my testimony. And I want to remind people, triggered snowflakes like Traditional Tattoo, that Fonnie Willis is the district attorney of Georgia. Nathaniel Wade used to be a judge in Georgia, is now a prosecutor in Georgia. They took
Correct.
an oath under penalty of perjury to talk
That's right.
about their relationship. Under penalty of perjury, somebody writing a statement is not subjected to a perjury claim. If they want to come to court and testify something on the contrary, then they can do that. The judge, in this case, determines who to believe. That's what
Right.
I was trying to get you to understand, Snowflake.
Right. And also,
And hold on,
there was
Anthony. And by the way, hold on.
Yeah.
And by the way, I did not kick him. He ran away.
Yeah, which I find ironic with his Harley Davidson than every other Harley Davidson owner. I think he had a street glide up on his profile pic. Whatever, bro. Way to be original. It's also interesting that he doesn't understand how the complaint was filed and the parties that made the complaint against Fonnie, who
Correct.
it was that brought this up. It is not the state. It is persons representing Trump that found a disgruntled employee that now has perjured herself pretty much, right? And that'll come out here in the next couple of days. And so because a complaint was filed, the district attorney had to make a decision. And that decision was, how was this going to proceed within the DA's office? What was this going to look like, right? And so the DA, doing what DAs do, it was like, well, this matter needs to be taken to trial, and a judge needs to make a decision, because it would be inappropriate for me to make a decision or to try to squash this or try to use any discretion that I have. And so because this complaint was filed, it will play out in civil court. And the
That's right.
judge, when you look at the transcript, the judge is kind of like already mentioned that he really doesn't care that she
That they had a relationship.
loved someone
Yeah.
and had a relationship. The only point of this that matters is, can the complainants prove beyond a reasonable doubt to the judge one thing and one thing only: that there was a quid pro quo around money, that party A gave party B money as it relates to the trial. Now, what we now know because of today's testimony is that there was only one person who may or may not have written something that the defense or that the complainant party brought to trial, right? To defend Trump's position that there was an exchange of money and there's a conflict of interest. So if all these other people wrote something, that team of legal experts looked at all of that evidence and was like, well, probably the only person who's going to be sympathetic is the former employee, because they didn't present any other evidence. Their evidence resides on the sole testimony of one person thus far. I don't know if they've got somebody hiding in the wings. I don't think so. It doesn't seem that way. So traditional tattoo, wherever you are, two things, dude. This live is owned and operated by TikTok first, by Fax second, and his mods third. That's how TikTok works for all the other MAGA idiots out there, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
abide
and
by the terms of service. We don't
but
make stuff up here. And if you want to come up like an adult. He started
well,
right,
he did.
but then
The
he went
pro
off
the
the rails.
See, this is what happens when you have really good mods, when they do some investigating onto the personality and the profiles of the people that we bring in, because traditional tattoo has Schmittler references all over his profile. So traditional tattoo,
Hello.
you've requested again, bro, but we don't cater to people like you. You might want to bring your hate speech someplace else. You might want to bring your hate speech someplace else. Boo boo. No traditional tattoos. You're not coming back because you're a bigot and you're a racist and you're not welcome back here. Moving Freight. How are you tonight? Moving Freight. How are you? Moving Freight. Good evening. Moving Freight. I guess he doesn't want to move it. Must have already been moved. Tattoos, bro. I know you love Anthony and I, and you are so obsessed with us, bro. But you're not coming up. You can request all night long. It's just not happening. You had your chance. You're an emotional snowflake who can't handle the heat, and you've got references to Schmittler all over your profile. So, bye now. Again, I think it's an important distinction that we understand the specifics of this case. This case is not about the relationship. It's about whether or not there were financial improprieties between the two. Fani Willis' statements today under testimony, under oath, under threat of perjury, which would not only mean she'd be disbarred, but she'd go to jail. And Nathan Wade had identical stories about timing, about how they were paid. I did not realize this, and I would love to talk to a Black woman about this, about how they're advised to have cash on hand. Makes perfect sense to me now that I hear it, the way that they describe it. So, like, I think it's an interesting, it's just another example of what Black women in our country have to go through. Advised by her dad to keep cash on hand, right? So their stories are consistent. The judge will determine it. I'll say it again. If we find out that she lied or that he lied, then they should get the full wrath of the Justice Department, however it works out. That's the reality. So we don't know if anybody lied. We don't. We do not know. The judge will determine that. But I also want to say something, that there was a subpoena. There was a subpoena for Fani Willis to appear. And there was petitions made by her office in her defense to ignore the subpoena. She said, nope, I'll testify. Why would you do that? Why would you do that under threat of perjury? It's not an interview. It's not a statement. It's testimony under oath in an incredibly high profile case.
It's almost like that's what innocent people do.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I just think it's hilarious. Traditional Tattoo really wants to talk to us again, but sorry, buddy.
Here's the deal. Let's think about this. Let's hit pause for just a second on this. Traditional Tattoo, I know you can hear the sound of my voice and it may bother you, so apologies for that. If you can come up here, not drop a single F-bomb.
No, he's not coming back.
Right?
Because
promise,
he's not coming back.
No, I know. I'm talking like just me to him right now. I will do a live where it's just you and me. But if you want that to happen, you're going to have to follow me and I'm going to follow you. And I'm going to go through your entire list of content, one at a time, painstakingly taking notes. If you follow me and I follow you and your account goes private, I am going to dog fucking walk the shit out of you all over this app every single day and make it my personal mission to call you out. Now, follow me if you think you got the stones to step up with me. But when you're looking for a smart guy in the room, I don't mean to brag, but I'm a pretty fucking smart guy. So trust me when I tell you something here. Don't tempt me. I've got a leash, I've got a collar, and I will stamp your name on it. So it's up to you, bro. Let me know.
Yeah. I do. Again, I think it's really, really important that we talk about the statement of facts in this case. The statement of facts are specific. It's not about anything to do with their relationship. The judge made it very, very clear. The only reason they are there is to determine whether or not there are financial discrepancies, and specifically, did Fani Willis or Nathan Wade benefit financially from this relationship? That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Their claim is we shared expenses. He was very clear to say she is a strong, independent woman. She wouldn't let me pay for her. And she said the same thing. And I think they had the reason their relationship ended, that she pointed out clearly, is that they disagreed on women and the traditional roles in a relationship. So again, moving on.
Which is an interesting side topic I would love to discuss with a woman one time in this live. Like, what the hell does that mean in 2024?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean,
like, I don't even know what that statement means.
Well, that's an interesting question. So we'll ask the question to our to ladies in the audience about how. So I was always raised that you respect people, and like, you know, I don't think is holding the door open a bad thing, for example, or is, you know, I know that some people might not appreciate that. That's fine. That's fine. I'd be curious. I'd be curious to pick people's opinion on that. I think it might depend on your age, what demographic you're in. You know, be curious. Alan Doiswin, again, 10 followers, bro. You're trying to bring the live down. Now you can leave. Bye-bye. So just another example of this misinformation, right? So you have an opinion formed in your head. Well, I don't think our last guest has an opinion at all, but I think what he's been told, you know, the worm that's burrowed into his brain, is that there's all this corruption. So think of this: a person who makes a statement, right? That statement can be a variety of ways. A statement is not subjected to perjury unless you make that statement under oath. We don't know where those statements came from. We have no idea. It's just like the people around the 2020 election that Rudy Giuliani said, we've got all these attestation statements, we've got all these statements, but that's nothing. Exactly. Go to court. Stand up.
Yep.
Present yourself. Bring evidence. Bring the receipts. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. Hey, Paul. How's it going, brother?
Oh man, good. How you doing, man?
We're good. I know, right?
It's just the level of stupidity in these people. It's just I can't even put it into words. Like they're all up in arms about Fonnie Willis. Like I don't care who she slept with. That's none of my business, right?
Nope. Don't give a shit.
That has no bearing on the case. But if Trump sexually assaults a woman or steals an election or stores nuclear secrets by the toilet, that's okay. But Fonnie Willis having sex with a guy, that's just a bridge too far. We just can't go there because the corruption's just too bad. That's where we are, right? It's a society.
That's right. And it's the emotion that's connected to it. Literally, even in the midst of his anger, you could see how confused and deluded he was to think somebody writing a statement proves that she's lying.
It's so stupid.
Stupid.
What? And not to change topics, I kind of think we've become numb to these shootings, and I think it's a real shame. And the one thing that I cannot stomach are Republicans calling themselves pro-life. And I wish that the Democrats would push back on that because you're pro-life, I'm pro-life. I don't want people to starve to death from not having food. I don't want people to die from not having health care. I don't want children to be murdered in schools. I'm pro-life. But here's the thing. Bud Light, Mr. Potato Head, Dr. Seuss, Trump loses an election. They lose their absolute minds and they storm the Capitol, beat police officers. Uvalde, where were all these people at? Sandy Hook, where were all these pro-life people at? George Floyd being murdered by a white cop on national TV. Where were all these people at that are pro-life? Like, where are all these pro-life people every time there's a school shooting? I don't understand how they're pro-life if they never defend anybody that shot in the school with a stupid gun.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how they're so stuck on this toxic masculinity of fake patriotism wrapped in an American flag and a bald eagle in a document that was written by slave owners where 2 sentences that were designed to own muskets to prevent slaves from getting their freedom in the Carolinas somehow means that you can have an AR-15 and shoot people in schools, and it's an infringement if you try to stop that. I don't understand the stupidity of us as a country that we're okay with children being killed, but God forbid we have a gay pride flag out in our front yard.
Yeah, I know it's emotional, and Anthony and I talked earlier about obviously what happened yesterday is horrible. It's just another example, and I think the situation that we have to look at is exactly what you said about how the majority of Americans are on the right side of history. The overwhelming majority of Americans are on the right side of history, and as a reminder to MAGA, you get your rights to keep and bear from your state, not from the feds. Each state has different language in their constitution and things. We don't want to spend too much time on that.
No.
But that's the reality of it that they don't even know.
But every person that votes for Republicans that don't change the law, that blood is on their hands. I'm not trying to say the wrong thing here, but they're responsible for this because they keep putting people into office that care more about the guns than the damage that guns do. That's like saying, oh, well, if you ban guns, it's not going to stop the crime. Okay, then let's not make cocaine illegal then because, if it's illegal, people are still going to find a way to do cocaine. Or how about we make drunk driving legal? Because even if you make it illegal, people are still going to drink and drive. I mean, that's just a stupid argument. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely asinine. And I don't know how we get past the Second Amendment. I mean, I don't know how many words are in the Constitution, but we're talking about 2 sentences written 250 years ago. And they just can't get off of that. That's somehow wrapped into fake patriotism. And I don't know how we fix it, but maybe you have some ideas that I don't, but I think it's absolute insanity that Canada, Australia, Japan, Germany, all those countries have found a way to stop gun violence, but they keep saying by banning the guns, but us, nope, it's not the guns, it's mental health, but then we won't even look at mental health. So I don't even know how we fix this as a country. Do you have any ideas?
Well, it's a uniquely American problem. That's part of the issue that we have to deal with. I think it's the reasons that we vote. So the irony behind this entire argument about how the Dems are coming for your pew-pews is just nonsense, absolute nonsense. Nobody who's reasonable wants that at all. What people want, and the overwhelming majority of Americans want, to the tune of 87% of Americans believe in universal background check. Similar stats, red flag laws, raising the age, 30-day waiting periods. Those are the things that we want. Those are the things that are
Right.
reasonable. And the reason you vote, because as long as you have the pockets wide open from Republicans accepting NRA money, then you're never
Right.
going to see changes. You're never going to see changes. They're literally voting against their constituents.
That really signifies the difference in the two parties. And I was a former Republican. I own a Sig Sauer P220. It's a great gun. I don't want to have it. I just just in case something happens, I like to shoot with it sometimes. But here's the difference. If somebody said, hey, you know what, we really had to address this, and if Congress got together and said, we really need to ban, I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, if we just remove all the guns in our country, will it completely eliminate crime? Absolutely not. Will it greatly reduce it? Yes. I would drive my gun down there today and give it away if everybody else
Hey,
would do
Paul,
that.
let's try to use pew pew if we can.
Oh, sorry,
we're already pushing it. We're already pushing it.
My fault. Anyway,
It's okay.
pew-pews. I would do it because it would be for the benefit of society. And the challenging part of this country is they only care about themselves, right? The second somebody has a pew-pew thing like yesterday, they don't think about the horror that it caused or the aunts or the kids or the grandparents that aren't going home. The first thing they do is they go to their closet and they put up their "Don't Tread on Me" flag. Somebody's coming for me, the evil boogeyman, my rights, my freedoms. There's no compassion, no empathy, because it's never about the benefit of society. It's only about their selfish, me mentality, and that's how we get Trump supporters. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that though. I mean, this connection to 2A and the freedom and the whole 9 yards goes back well before Trump, but it has to do with an ideology.
Right.
And Anthony and I were talking about this, the history behind 2A, about slave owners and why it was established in the first place. And it was the Virginians who were landowners, aka slave owners, who were afraid of a slave rebellion. The militia was federalized at that point. It wasn't very big. So those landowners, aka slave owners, asked James Madison specifically to say, hey, what about us? And considering James Madison was also a slave owner, he said, yeah, we should probably do something about that. So that's the history. But people want to ignore that.
I know. I get so upset.
We all do.
And then we just go back to, hey, what'd you have for lunch? And we have Congress trying to impeach Mayorkas because they want to rile up their white uneducated base that wears MAGA hats made in China. It's so insanely stupid right now. It's like a kindergarten people. It's just insanity.
You're right, bro. You're right.
Anyway,
well,
all right.
Keep the energy. Make sure you're telling people to vote blue. Save democracy. Save a life. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Paul.
Later.
Two really quick points to what Paul was saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to own a pew pew, and you are of the age in which you are eligible to join the military, you must join for 2 years after a certain date. That way, at least we know you've been trained on pew pew safety. If you are past the age for that type of training, you must pay out of pocket for an insurance program that includes a mandatory, say, 80 hours of training on various ranges and various techniques, in which basically make it like a hunter safety class, but more harder than that, which is pretty difficult for net new people to pew pews, and make that a requirement. But it's not a one time. You're going to have to do that every 5 years to be able to maintain a piece of paper that you have. And then the last thing that we really need to do is we need to get back to emphasizing education in general. What the right has done over the last 30 years while serving in Congress and the Senate, after they've graduated from Ivy League colleges, universities, law schools, business schools, Ivy League, all of them, is that they have created this class of elites whilst being elites themselves, and then telling people you don't need college, which I find ironic because every single one of them is an Ivy League guy, right? Ted Cruz as a prime example, who thinks he's going to take over as the Senate leader, which I am laughing at. if
I know.
there's a least qualified human being to lead something other than Ted Cruz, I'd like to meet that human being just so I could mentor and shape them and actually make them worthy of leading something.
That's right.
I would accept that challenge. But I'm glad Paul came up because he brought up some good points. Again, I see lots of MAGAs chirping in the comments. I don't see anybody coming up, so I don't know what's going on. But keep tapping the screen and maybe just start typing Trump 2024 in the comments. See if we can't
Yeah,
get some new blood in the box.
and I want to remind MAGA of a few things specifically. We won't spend all night on the 2A unless we have to. But Justice Antonin Scalia, who's a hardcore conservative, is part of a Heller decision, said, and I quote, "Like most rights, the right secured by the Second Amendment is not unlimited. It's not a right to keep and carry any weapon whatsoever in any manner whatsoever and for whatever purpose."
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it would be cool to own a tank if you had enough property to run around with it. Just not an operation. Not that the weaponry would work, but just I always thought, like, whenever I met a guy in the army that was a tanker, I'm like, come on, that must have been just freaking fun learning how to get to do that, right? I mean, that's like a Tonka toy wet dream, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, you know.
Like, what's that movie with Fury? That movie with Brad Pitt. You ever seen that?
Oh my God, that I just watched that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, pretty intense.
Yeah, that World War II tanker stuff is scary. Those things were just so paper thin.
Crazy. Crazy. All right, we'll talk to Uncle Jack. Continue to like and share, friends. Appreciate it. Can we get to 75,000? Uncle Jack, how are you today?
Can you hear me?
Uncle Jack? Yeah, we got you.
Am I actually on this air?
You are.
You got me. Wow. Okay, I didn't know I pressed the button. My phone was in my pocket. But anyway, appreciate all your conversations. I listen to you all the time. And unfortunately, I'm just walking into an appointment right now. I didn't even know I was there. And this is the first time I've ever connected live to anybody. So you win that one for me. All right, thanks.
You got it, bud. Have a good night.
For the record, I didn't get an invite to the party.
Oh, sorry. You're invited. I must have got lost. It got lost in the mail.
Along with my Soros check.
Yeah. Damn it. Yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that for a second, right?
Yeah.
So every person, when we see those comments, and I again, MAGA, I don't know where you've got this in your head. You think that every creator on this app that does lives in particular, you think all of us are paid operatives from the DNC? I mean, do you all honestly think that? There's lots of MAGA in the chat right now, so I'd like to answer that question. So MAGA, here's a question. If you believe that we're all paid operatives from the DNC, put a red heart in the chat. I'm just curious because it's amazing to me how often we see that. So many times in my videos, so many times. It's just all over the place. You think we're all paid? Yeah, okay, cool. So short uncle, you don't have enough followers. You have plenty of followers. Come on to the box, so you know. Talk about money to Ukraine. Sure. What do you want to talk about? It's not money to Ukraine. I don't know if you saw Joe Biden's speech. It's not money.
Yeah.
It's ammunition, it's supplies, it's intelligence, and here you go. So the foundries in our country, of which there are many, spread all over the place. Foundries are responsible for basically manufacturing munitions and all kinds of things related to it. They are humming. They are humming along. What they're doing is they're making and manufacturing the state-of-the-art stuff to replace the things that we're giving to Ukraine.
Yep.
So why would you not want Ukraine to stop Putin? That's the question we should be asking. So MAGA, jump in the box. Tell us why you're pro-Putin, first of all, and why. But more importantly, why would you not want us, first of all, to honor our agreement, and second of all, to stop Putin in his tracks without losing a single American life?
Yeah.
Think about
Also important to remember that no one's paying for the ammunition. It's already been paid for. It has reached its best by date from a technology perspective. And so we're giving it away because we also just had a new budget for the Department of Defense. And so what we're doing is we're increasing employment in the United States so that the manufacturers of the new smarter weaponries can be built, and then restocking the shelves at the military industrial complex 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I mean, look, none of us like the fact that we have the military industrial complex, but we have it. And if we're going to criticize, I mean, we have it. It's all about American jobs, and we already know that under Democrats create exponentially more jobs than Republicans. I want to go back to that stat sheet because there's a lot of really cool information on there, specifically about jobs. Where was that? Where can I find that one stat I wanted to bring up?
Was that like the fourth link you sent? I think the jobs.
I think
one?
So. Yeah. Let me see if I can
got
find
it up here. 1, 2, 3. Economic performance. That's bullet point 5.
Yeah. Where did I see that? Here it is. Okay. So job creation refers to the number of net jobs, again, which is reported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Yes.
So total job creation from Truman through Trump. So we can't go to Biden because he hasn't completed his term yet, through August 2020. So that covers most of the Trump administration. For the 13 presidents beginning with Truman, total job creation was 70.5 million for the 70 Democratic presidents and 29.1 million for the 6 Republican presidents. Democratic presidents were in office for a total of 429 months, with 164,000 jobs per month added on average. Republicans in office for 475 months, so more months, 61,000 jobs added per month on average. This monthly average rate was 2 times faster under Democratic presidents. Again, another example. So do you not believe Bureau of Labor Statistics? I don't know. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. But if I said to you, if I gave you the numbers in reverse and I said that they were Republicans who won, you of course would believe that, right? Of course you would. Of course you would. This is the point, you guys. You know, Anthony and I sit up here, and yes, it gets feisty once in a while, but we match energy. But specifically, it's about an opportunity to learn things you might not learn otherwise, because we know many of you tend to spend time within your narrative and your confirmation bias, unwilling to see anything other than what you want to see. What you want to see. Yeah. I bet many of you, even people on the left, I bet many of you didn't know, and I didn't know it as when I got into the numbers, how big a gap it was in economic performance. GDP, twice as high under Democrats. Wall Street, record gains under Democrats. Inflation rate is lower on average under Democrats. So 10 of the last 11 recessions we've had have been under Republican administrations. The facts are there. I don't know what else to say. We can't help you if you don't want to try to understand it and learn. Like, could you come up here and say, you know, I don't like Joe Biden. I'd like to understand why inflation's so high. Let's have that conversation, because we'll help.
Yeah.
Because we will help.
I'd love to have that conversation. Are you kidding me?
Me too.
Threaten me with a bunch of stats and math. Ooh.
We know, because we learned earlier that Anthony enjoys math at home. That could be a series, like a math at home with Anthony.
Yeah. I dare I tell you how I like to try to figure out different types of algorithms? Bro, I'm a party animal.
Look, you know, I consider myself a pretty smart guy, but I can't math. That's not me. I don't go there. But I'll recite Shakespeare all day long. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
All right, so
that I can't do.
Let's reset again about a couple of things for those of you that are just joining. We had the case in New York today, specifically the fraud case against Trump regard to the hush money payment, which is actually an election interference case. That trial date has been set for March 25th. They denied all pretrial motions, so unless something happens between now and then, that's when that trial will start. Alvin Bragg said he needs about a month for that trial. It will require Trump to be there. There are 34 felonies. Each one carries up to 4 years. Obviously, he won't be found guilty on all of them. But this is a pretty simple case because it's all about paper. The question is, which misdemeanors did he commit in an attempt to cover up other misdemeanors, which puts it in a felony category? So that's the case. So all this conversation about Georgia we were having a little while ago. So Fonnie Willis was brought to Dave's here. I want to bring him up in a second. So actually, I'll bring him up right now. Here we go. Speak of the devil. We'll go to the horse's mouth, as they say. Right to the horse's mouth on this one.
I kind of knew that you wanted to talk to me as soon as you talked about that. No, I read the March 25th date and the denial of his motion to dismiss. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The judge came out and he just said, nope, really, that's what happened. He came out early, and then Trump's attorneys were they were asses. They were screaming all the bullshit, election interference, and the best excuse was, well, I don't have enough time to do it with all of my clients' other trials. I shit you not. Open court.
Wow.
But I can't talk a lot because I'm getting into my car. But
okay.
So I just wanted to give the audience the legal thing. So the original crimes, it's basically finagling business records. They're all misdemeanors. They're all misdemeanors unless you're using it in order to sway an election or to affect the election. That's how it becomes an e-felony. An e-felony is the lowest kind of degree of felony in New York State, but it's still a felony. So that's kind of the end-all and be-all of what we're doing. And so when this goes to trial, it's going to be easy to prove that he paid the money. It's going to be easy to prove all that stuff.
For too long.
Oh, shit. Sorry, hold on.
Waited around on medical appointments for me and my family.
Sorry, hold on.
It's okay.
My Bluetooth picked up. Shit.
We got you.
Hold on. Let me turn off my car. I just turned off my car to freeze in here just to finish the thought. The hard part truly is going to be to prove that it was made to affect the election. They're going to have Stormy Daniels up there, and that's going to kind of be the harder part to prove, but they'll be able to prove it. At the end of the day, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I think it's the weakest of all the cases. I don't think it survives on appeal, but I think a jury is going to convict them.
Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus. Well, Dave.
No, I'm here.
Okay. So specifically though, like you said, got a lot of background noise, bro. Got a lot of background noise.
That was just me putting on my seatbelt. I haven't turned the car on yet.
Okay, so because of the fact that it's connected to election interference, and like you said, so the requirement that would be for them so a misdemeanor in an attempt to cover up another crime would make it a felony, right?
And I'm not sure exactly how it works in this particular case. It's the way that they're interpreting it is it's a misdemeanor unless it's being used not to cover up another crime, because there was no crime to cover up. He was just having an affair. That's not a crime. But it's unless it's being used to affect an election, which makes it an e-felony.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how it's kind of being interpreted. And At the end of the day, we're going to see. Anywho, I got to drop because I got to drive.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Thanks a lot, Dave. Later.
Nope.
All right, so then we know that. So in Dave's perspective, they would win the case on appeal, which wouldn't surprise me, quite frankly. But how long is the appeal going to take? I mean, we don't know. We don't know what Alvin Bragg has. We don't know additional information he has. I see this more as an election interference than anything else. I realize having an affair is not a crime. I get that. But when you falsify business records and you cover it up, those are crimes. Easy to prove, to Dave's point. Connecting the dots, drawing the line from that cover up. You can look at the timing, and you can look at the catch and kill campaign from the National Enquirer, where they know specifically the timing is such that they did not want this story to get out. So they pressured the Enquirer to not release the story prior to the election. And again, the right likes to use Hunter Biden's laptop as election interference. There's no difference, except the FBI and the Trump administration are the ones that had Hunter's laptop. God damn. Biden is an oaf. That's a great username. Oh, God. MAGA's quiet tonight, bro. Very, very quiet. Friends, if you guys could like and share, continue to like and try to drive some traffic. Let's get that out to FYP. Please spam Trump24 MAGA in the chat. And let's see if we can fire up the engine. All right, we'll bring up Killian. Hello, Killian. How are you tonight?
I'm good, buddy. Good to see you again.
You too. What's on your mind tonight?
Just trying to see where you guys are going tonight. What you're talking about.
Why does MAGA and Republicans keep losing elections?
I mean, it's pretty obvious. They have no ground to stand on, no empirical evidence to show that they've done anything successful in the past presidencies that they've had.
That's
I mean,
right.
how can I believe in something that has no proof to back it? And therefore, how can they win if they have nothing to show for all their past wins?
Yeah, it's been one loss after another, right? One after another.
How do you lose when you're in control too? That's what's madness. I mean, they every time you ask a Trump supporter, like, show us a bill that is successful or that is passed or something that they've actually done that's helped the people, which is what really matters. They have nothing to show for it. I mean, let's give tax breaks to the rich. Yeah, that's what we need right now.
Well
It's
said.
just sad. I mean, it breaks my heart. I mean, have you seen this madness about the Tucker Carlson thing? I mean, I've talked to people. I've been doing a lot of lives lately, and something that's really shocked me is now people are supporting Russia. I mean,
I know.
what's happening right now, man? I mean, it's scary. It's honestly scary. Like in small towns where I'm at, like Tennessee, there are people who are sitting around talking at coffee shops, like saying, "Oh yeah, we need to give Ukraine back to Russia. I mean, Putin's a good guy. I mean, this is." And I'm just like, "Are we in America right now, or where are we at?"
I know.
Honestly, I wanted to talk to you about this, and it just really shocks me, and I want your thoughts on it, man, because it is really scary.
It's important to remember the historical context here too, right, Killian? Because in the 1930s there were an awful lot of Americans, Brits, and French that supported certain people in Germany at that time. So this is not net new, right? And in the 80s there was a rather large amount of support for the former Soviet Union, and our government encouraged some of that stuff. So it's not necessarily net new. It's just it's I think shocking how obvious they're being about the deception.
Well,
right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is like watching it as a psychologist. It's like watching a live open study, because what's happening here is I was like, there's no way any of these people are going to fall for this. There's no way people are going to really fall into this. It's so obviously, blatantly, look at what this is. We can clearly see, because we're thinking, intelligently about it. Like, this is what it is. This is just clearly a ploy. It's manipulation. It's, these people are going to see that. And then I'm looking at these people and they're really deeply believing in this. Like, they're like, yeah, Russia owns Ukraine. And I'm just like, this, and I know it's happened before, and, the old saying, history's bound to repeat itself, but it's just really scary and shocking how, I guess, ignorant, is the correct word, that the people are.
Yeah, we talked about this the other night, about how like people say, why would you not support the statement America first? Because history matters. So if you go back to Woodrow Wilson isolationist policies back in the 30s, and we ignored foreign policy, we ignored other nations because of his America first policies, and that created the reconstruction of Germany, and the fact that it built the Reich. So this is the same. It's the same playbook. So just the other day, Putin came out in a statement and said it's better for Russia to have Biden as the president. That's intentional by the KGB.
They're manipulating. Yes, they're manipulating these. They know that these people here are ignorant. They know that they're easily manipulated, and they're playing. It's like your other guest, Anthony, I believe it is, said it is repeating itself. They're using, except for now we're on the age of the internet, TikTok, and everything else. So people are getting their news fed directly to them, and it's honestly scary that they'll just literally watch or believe anything that people are saying. It's just like shocking. Like, they have no thoughts of them. They don't have any way to look into it. Think about it. Have some intelligent thoughts to what you're looking at, and don't just take it at face value. And they're just like, yeah, this is what it is. They're right. Like, it's hard. I literally had an argument with someone who's a very close friend about this, who got in my car and said that exact thing. They're like, yeah, Putin's right. We should give back Ukraine. And I'm just like, are you are you messing with me? Am I being punked right now? And this guy's like, well-educated, smart, like intelligent person. And I'm just, how simple and how easy is it to manipulate these people? I mean, do they understand what's happening to them, really?
Yeah, it's not ours to give. First of all, it's not ours to give back.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean,
Yeah.
if that's the case, then we need to give back America to the Indians and the Spanish, to the Mexicans. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, what kind of mad, which, I mean, I still think that what we did was wrong anyways. That's not the point. But, I mean, they're sovereign, they're free. They got away from from where they were at. They did it on purpose. There's a reason behind what happened. And it's just shocking that these people are just like, yeah, let's just give back Ukraine and let them go under a dictator.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's part of the. So we did a live cut last week. I think it was on media literacy and confirmation bias and how you navigate through these kinds of things. And because people have not been taught to critically think and don't understand what misinformation is, they'll accept the fact that a former KGB operative,
A murderer.
yeah, I'm just going to mute you real quick. You got a lot of background noise, bro. Sorry about that, but they won't accept that. So they'll take the word of a former KGB operative that he'll say Joe Biden is better for Russia, and I've already seen it. MAGA has already glommed onto that. And that's kind of the point, right? That's kind of the point. That's intentional. That's what they've been doing forever. That's what they did in 2016. That's what they did to Hillary in 2016.
Yes.
That misinformation. So, and they're not, quite frankly, they're just not smart enough to figure it out. They're just not.
Well, it's scary because the effects it can cause here, without critical thinking, I mean, it's going to be chaos. I mean, it's I'm worried for the election. Maybe it'll affect this election. I hope it doesn't. And only time will tell. But with that many people coming together, what are your thoughts right now do you still think that there's no chance that he's going to be elected?
I don't think there's any way in hell I think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be an electoral blowout.
I hope I 100% have faith in that and hope you're correct. I have faith in the American people that they're not going to make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, it's just my opinion. I don't know. Anthony might disagree, but I just see it. There's just so many things that people need to look at. You have to look at what Trump-backed candidates have been like for the past 7 years. You have to look what the Republicans are running on. They aren't running on anything. Independent voters always decide elections, and they're not stupid. They know exactly who Trump is, and it's going to be a blowout. It will be an electoral blowout.
I agree with you 100%. I really do.
Cool.
It's good to talk to you again, and nice to meet you, Anthony.
Be well talking to you, Killian.
One other thing I was actually thinking about on this. I'm trying to think again on it for a minute to put my thoughts together. Sorry, you caught me when I just finally got a break from work, but. Okay. You were talking about the election and everything, and having nothing to stand on. I mean, when you literally have to stop a bill to help actual innocent people that need help, and to stop a bill that would help people on the border wall just to have something to stand on. I mean, what kind of person are you to back that? Like, what kind of people back that kind of thing? Like you're literally stopping aid to people who legitimately need it. You're creating chaos and pain and suffering just for your political stance so that you actually have something to run on to try to win. Then you're just grasping at straws at that point.
That's correct. That's why I said earlier that the gift that the Republican Party has given to the Democrats, and Dems can now run on immigration and say Republicans don't want to do anything. And here's the proof. There was a bill that these are all the things that they asked for, and they said, don't do it. It's an election year. They're going to run. That was a major issue. During exit polls, during that primary race in New York this week, voters were asked about that. They brought up immigration. The fact that they brought up immigration and the Democrat won that seat by 8 points, that's a 15-point delta between the last time. That tells you all you need to know. And we're seeing that all across the country. Abortion rights are still going to be on the ballot. Democracy is still going to be on the ballot. All these kinds of things. In every single election, Republicans are getting hammered in everyone getting hammered.
It's insane. I feel like lives are being, they said that, human life can't be valued in dollars, but it seems like when it comes to an election year, you definitely can count human lives in dollars.
Yeah,
I feel
you're right. You're right.
And that's
well said.
madness. But Gentlemen, it was a pleasure being up here with you again. I'll definitely love to pop back in, but I'll let you go back to what you were doing. It's good to meet you,
Always.
Anthony. Wise,
Good meeting you. Thank you.
wise and fancy scholars and gentlemen here. That's all there is. I really appreciate that there's people like you
Thank
here.
you, bro. Appreciate you.
give me
Back at you.
Thank you, guys. You give me a good
Thank you.
guidance, great guidance and wisdom. Take care.
Thank you, brother. Be well. Have a good night.
You too.
That's cool. But
Yeah.
again, these are I just got to get some water. These are the things that we continue to talk about, right? Like the reality. The fact that people are just will turn a blind eye to history. This just popped up, and I want to share it because it's kind of funny. A televangelist from Arkansas claims that Satan is engineering Taylor Swift's marriage to Travis Kelce so she can give birth to the Antichrist and launch the apocalyptic 1,000-year war against Christ. That's cool.
Yeah. That's interesting. Said no one ever.
Please continue to like and share, you guys. We really appreciate that. Twisted Crone, how are you tonight?
I'm fine. Am I over here?
You are over here. What is on your mind this evening?
I would like very much to just interject where you said earlier that it's pretty much a slam dunk that the Dawn is going to get run out of town in November. My issue with that is that I don't believe that he's so stupid as not to believe that himself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And in that context, I believe that he has something up his sleeve. And that's why he keeps giving all these winks and nods during his I don't know what the hell you call it, the cult rallies, they're not campaign rally. I can't believe he's campaigning for anything.
Right.
But I believe that's why he keeps dropping these little information turtlets peppered amongst his rants, because those people who believe that he is communicating with them on a secret level are eating that up, because that's exactly what he has manipulated his way into being able to do. They eat it up. I know people that are amongst those kinds of people. I know them. I know what they get. I know what they grab. If you look at any of the Instagram, the TikTokers, all the people who are living like on the edge of that, I don't know if even living on the edge of that is the right way, but some of them, they're so unsure. Everybody's so uncertain. There's so much fear, which is of course propagated deliberately, that they want to be safe. And so that's why you see all these preppers and survivalists and the make filtered water out of your t-shirt people. They believe that he's telling them that there's something coming, that there's some kind of exterior event going to happen.
Yeah, Twisted, it's fear. The only thing that's coming is accountability that he's never had to face in his adult life. That's what's coming. We've already seen it.
I believe that, but I also
hang on one second. We've already seen him being held accountable by in a civil case in New York for his the way in which he treats women. We already know that his organization has been deemed a fraud. We're just waiting for the penalty. We know all these things. So he's never faced accountability. So he's never faced accountability before. That's why he's losing his shit, because he doesn't believe he believes that he's above the law. He's asking you have to understand something, MAGA. He's asking for immunity. He's not defending himself against the crimes he's committed.
Nope.
He's asked for immunity. So that should tell you everything that you need to know. Right? I mean, that's it. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anything else on that? Anything else, Kristen?
Just that I'm concerned with this whole bull crap thing with O'Tuck and Thump and Pooty.
Yeah, don't
You know.
ignore it. Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I appreciate that.
You got it. Thank you for joining us tonight.
But other than
Appreciate
that, yes, I try to catch you when I can, and I often forward your pieces because I think you're right. Absolutely,
Thank you
absolutely
very
right.
much. We appreciate you. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Peace out. Yeah, I just I want to call that out because I think it's really, really, really important that the game that the right wing has had for many, many years is chaos and mayhem. It's distraction, distraction, distraction. That's exactly what you want, which again, it's a tenet of fascism. Scapegoating others. They want to tell you who to be afraid of. So if it's not the BIPOC community, it's the trans community, it's the gay community, it's immigrants, it's liberals, it's intellectuals, it's everybody else. So they can lie to you about the things that they're doing. They're the ones that are propping up corporations. They're the ones that are handing out corporate welfare. They're the ones that are driving our economy into recessions. They're the ones that are not taking care of its citizens. They're the ones that are taking your rights away. This has been a game forever. So this is literally the whole Roe v. Wade issue is the dog that caught the car, or I like the roadrunner that finally caught the coyote, or other way around, the coyote that finally caught the roadrunner. Now that they've caught it, they don't know what to do because they caught it. They cheered. The right-wing masses, the moms of liberty, the pro-life wackadoos, the Christian wingnuts, the far-left fascists, far-right Christo-fascists are like, oh, shit. Now what do we do? And that's what's happened. It's by design. I mean, the Heritage Foundation, whoever they might be, those organizations have been around forever. And this is what they've been marching towards. And now that they're here, talk about self-inflicted. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's but by design, I must say. By design.
Yep.
Hi, Robin. Robin.
100% a butt dial.
Yeah, I tried. I tried.
Yeah.
That's okay. I get it. Hey, Chris, how are you tonight?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Since before you grew the beard, man.
I know, right?
Santa Fax.
It's Santa Fax. That's right, bro. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I took a hiatus from social media about 2 weeks before that war started, so it took me about 3 weeks before I even heard of it.
Wow. Well, that's
But
probably good. Your palate has been cleansed, so to speak.
yeah, pretty much. It's given me an opportunity to step back and look at it objectively, you know.
What have you seen? Looking objectively, what have you seen?
Well, objectively, it is probably the bloodiest land grab in the history of humanity, or at least the most public one. I mean, back when they were snatching land from the natives, we had to deal with yellow journalism in the form of print. Now we get to see it all in real time on the evening news.
Are you talking metaphorically, the land grab, or like what are you talking about?
Well, if you look at what Netanyahu's up to,
Oh, okay.
this basically amounts to a huge land grab. He's just...
Yeah, Chris, we have to be very careful how we talk about this. This is one of those danger areas for TikTok.
Understood.
So let's try to... Okay.
Understood. So, hypothetically, if you look at what is going on there, and I'm trying to be as vague as possible, it would seem that what he is up to is that he is trying to get rid of as many of the people who belong there as possible so that he can claim what he's already been illegally claiming, despite international sanctions to the contrary, for a good long time now. It's just that it seems like he feels like he's pressed for time and has to claim it all right now. or he's just
Well,
being an opportunist about it. Either way, the result is the same.
I think he sees the inevitability of his short time in power. So you might be right. Anthony's much more versed and much more sort of invested in this conversation. Anything to add to that, Anthony?
Yeah, I think it's important for everyone to remember that Bibi Netanyahu does not speak on behalf of Jews outside of the state of Israel. He certainly is beyond the pale. And like Trump, a lot of his actions have to do with the fact that there is a pending case against him. So this is also a delay tactic because justice for the crimes he allegedly committed before this started are still pending. He clearly has lost his way. I think he has forgotten about his responsibilities to the state of Israel. And unfortunately, a lot of Israelis voted him in because of his economic policies. And that was an incredibly myopic decision. But I don't live there. So as a Jew, I don't get to claim the right to talk to them about how they vote. But it's really important, one, that we be very, very careful here on TikTok
Yeah.
how we discuss this, because we will be taken down not for having an adult conversation, not for about having a hard conversation. There are forces out there, literal forces out there that will mass report this live and get it taken down. So that's just why I want us to be abundantly cautious. I believe in a two-state solution. I believe that crimes against humanity have happened, and I'm completely disgusted with it. Other than that, I don't want to say anything. I was reminded just the other night on this live that I have to watch what I say and how I say it, because the banana forces are out there. So I just want to be careful.
Understood. I stand corrected in regards to the TikTok monitoring system. So
No,
let's
you did nothing wrong.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm just
You're right, but it's just
yeah.
Right,
sadly
understood.
we live in this world, right?
But let's reflect on your background there. It's like, why do they keep losing? It's because the Republican Party has fallen victim to itself. This all started when Jerry Ford pardoned Richard Nixon. Had that never happened, then we wouldn't be where we are today.
True.
They have decided, for whatever their reason, that it is fashionable and functional to become a bunch of mustache twirling, top hat donning, cape wearing villains who will not hesitate to find the first damsel in distress and tie her to a railroad track.
It's true.
And they believe that this is the way in which you win elections. And now, and forgive me, but I'm still optimistic. I still believe that the American people as a whole are good, with the exception of a bunch of boisterous assholes who now feel as if they have a king to underpin their idiocy.
Agreed.
And so we have to contend with this. But do I believe that Donald Trump will ever be president again? No.
No. You know, Chris, it's funny that you bring that up because we've talked about this a lot about I want to be careful how I say this, not necessarily the intelligence of the electorate. It's about the ability of the electorate to critically think, to know when their pants are being pulled down, right? And the majority, to your point, Chris, the majority of Americans understand that. The large majority. MAGA likes to claim that they're 75 or 74 million strong. They're not. They're not. They are the far right extreme of the Republican Party. The modern day Republican Party is done. Is done. It's over. That's not to say that every Republican is MAGA. The problem is because they don't. I was saying earlier, the dog that caught the car. They've been pushing these social agendas, these culture wars against the BIPOC community, about the LGBTQ community, everybody else, right? Everybody else that's non-white, cis, Christian, male for the most part. And now society is saying, enough of that fucking bullshit. We're done. They've never done anything for me. We have 10 of the last 11 recessions are under Republicans. They give corporate welfare out. They prop up the donor class. They don't defend the rights of others. They say they're pro-life. They're not. They're pro-forced birth. So they can't run on anything. The last thing they had was immigration, and they lost that. So to your point, unless they change their ways, they're going to continue to lose.
And in regards to immigration, I mean, you're clapping because a bunch of a bunch of representatives head down to the border for a photo op or a quote unquote fact finding mission, when in fact they should be in Washington in meetings and in their office resolving the matter, because it is not, but contrary to popular belief, it is not President Biden's job to fix the border. It is Congress's job. And the last president who tried to solve immigration with an executive order, well, raise your hand if executive overreach flashback.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And and I'm glad you brought that up. What people fail to realize is that if we go back to 2018, 2019, we had this little thing in Venezuela, call it whatever you want. Right after that, coincidentally, in 2019, we saw like a 500% spike in border crossings or attempts to cross. When you destabilize countries in Central and South America, that's what happens. So we had that massive spike. We had COVID, the border was shut down, and we've just continued on that trend. The ironic part about, and I'm glad you said what you said, the ironic part about it is MAGA believes, and the MAGA Republicans in Congress are telling their base that the president has this authority to just shut down the border. Well, guess what? He doesn't. He doesn't. It takes law to do that. The ironic part about that is that the same Republicans that are claiming that the president has that authority introduced a bill in the House called H.R. 2 because they knew that they had to have legislation to address the border. They also knew it was never going to pass, but they did it anyway. Then they're handed a bill from the Senate that was exactly what they wanted, that I was absolutely against because it did nothing to address DACA, did nothing to address the people that are already here, did nothing to address the humanitarian side. They could have had it, and they said no. That's why we said earlier, thank you, Republicans, for handing us the border, because now we can own it and blame you guys.
And
it's ridiculous.
And just to expand on this, again, this reflects back on Republican Party policy, because for decades, we spent an inordinate amount of time and a cubic shit ton of money destabilizing governments south of the damn border. The difference between this hemisphere and the other is that when you do that on the opposite side of the world, they do come here, but they come here to kill you. On this side of the world, in this hemisphere, when you do that, they come here to live because it's the best place to live.
Correct. That's exactly right. We a few weeks back, we hosted a live with a couple of experts on the border. And Rollo is an immigration attorney. He's also an immigrant. He's also been through the system. He said, if we approach this from a humanitarian, economic, and family reunification process, then that would be the way to handle the border. You could flex the border based on economic needs. You could flex the amount of people that you could have in based on certain circumstances. If you put humanitarian first, we all agree that we have to solve this issue, but going at it the way that both parties tokenize people in this regard. We use the people that are trying to cross and get a better life as pawns in this debate. And it's disgusting. If you really wanted to fix it, criminalize corporations that hire undocumented people. Seriously. Because from an economic perspective, they want cheap labor.
And that's the other thing about it. It's like, oh, you got people coming over here and they're taking our jobs. Well, DeSantis ran damn near all of the migrants up out of Florida. I didn't see anybody out there picking fruit. If somebody fresh off the boat don't speak a word of English and come up in this country and take your job, I'm sorry to tell you, but you should have leveled up a long fucking time ago.
That's exactly right.
Because if
Exactly right.
somebody who don't speak a word of English can do your job, that means there's a pictogram somewhere showing them how to do it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's an issue. We need to deal with it. We got to deal with it the right way, though. I love talking to you, Chris. You're a super smart guy. Really, I'm glad you're back, man. I'm glad you're
Well,
back.
thank you for having me. You guys have a good night. And for you folks down in the comments, don't forget to control the pet population. Please have your pets spayed and neutered. You have a good night.
Well done, Chris. Thanks, buddy. See you later,
Thanks,
man.
Chris.
Chris is a good guy. I really like Chris.
He
I miss
is.
him. He's a good dude. He's a smart.
I
Smart as a
hope he
whip.
does audio books because he has an awesome voice for audio books. I would love to listen to him recite a book. That would be fantastic. What a just, I don't even know what the word is in voice actor terms, but like that's a compelling voice that I would want to hear read a book to me. Just
Totally.
fucking fantastic tone and depth. And Grant, whatever the hell your name is, Grant, watch something. Look, dude, this is it. You either come up in the box or you're gonna get the boot. Enough chirping.
Good evening, my friend, the optimist, although disappointed. How are you?
Oh, hello. Sorry, I was loading the dishwasher. Yeah. I just wanted to say I missed some of your this whole talk tonight because I was over watching the Lincoln Project. But I just wanted to say I think it's been a great week for Democrats. And we had Mayorkas was impeached. They did their little clown show once Scalise got back, and then the same night, the Democrats won the New York 3rd House seat, and then Pennsylvania won a Senate seat in the state. And then tomorrow I'm thinking is when the civil trial he's gonna rule on that, and that's probably $375 million. I think it's up to.
Yeah. I think the bigger issue, they say it might, who knows, it might come in under that. The expectation is I might split the difference between 250 and 370. But the bigger issue is the future of the Trump org. And I was saying earlier, disappointed about how I think this case, that one in particular, is the one that really gets Trump's goat more than anything. Because as you know, his brand means everything to him. And if he can't do business in New York anymore, and there was apparently some of the things that Judge Engoron has been navigating through, apparently they tried to do some shady ass shit and move some of the operations via paper to Florida to protect it. And the person that was put in charge during the process was like, no, you can't do that. Which again just shows how corrupt and fraudulent they are.
Heck yeah. And I had heard it's called tonight a death penalty, basically, for the Trump organization, because it's going to be done.
Correct.
And, that what's the one thing Trump cares about the most? It's money.
His money and his brand.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's he going to do? He doesn't have $375 million. He's going to have to start selling crap off, pennies on the dollar, probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the question, right? Because he's got a lot of assets. So I think what you're going to see, the question, I'm trying to remember, cash poor, I think is the term that they use. And I don't know what that means. When I send my tuition check off to my kids, I'm like, I'm cash poor. I know exactly what that means. So I don't know what that means when you're a billionaire, but he doesn't have the cash to cover a $370 million settlement, which means he'll have to start selling assets.
Well,
and
what I'm
that's going to
not
bother
sure
him.
of, and maybe Anthony can answer this. I'm no lawyer, but if this all happens, and let's say they do that, and we're just using this term loosely, the death penalty, where he's done in New York, does that mean he has to sell his New York properties?
Well, he doesn't own property. This is a big misconception.
Correct.
Trump as a name is a brand that one buys into, much like naming a stadium, a sports stadium, right? He has in his early stages, he was a developer of property, which is not the same as the owner of the property, right?
Correct.
I do believe he owns a large portion Trump Tower, but it's not all his. I'm fairly certain there's a rather extensive consortium of owners for the Trump Tower. And Mar-a-Lago may be the only other actual physical property that he outright, in quotes, owns. So those two things might be at this point his only properties. I'm not aware of him owning anything else. So he is exactly cash poor, meaning he's illiquid. He doesn't have cash on hand. He borrows money to get his name put on buildings and to work as a developer to get projects going.
Right.
And then doesn't pay his bills, and that's how he makes money. And then that assessment case going back and forth with Alan Weisselman was about how he lied on his taxes,
Right.
how he would deflate values of his assets and then increase value of his assets as it suited his needs. So I do not believe he has ever been an actual billionaire, meaning he did not have an actual $1 billion worth of cash and assets combined. He is a con man and a grifter. And I suspect that at best in a cash format, he may have $5 to $10 million of loan money that he's kind of squirreled away. But he is broke, which is why he's delaying in doing this. He will take all of the RNC's money to pay all of his debts, and
Yep.
then he'll leave.
Yeah, I mean, I think he owns licensing is his big thing. So like Trump
Correct.
Doral, Trump Bedminster,
Right.
the Trump Hotel in D.C. So he gets money to be able to put his brand, but he doesn't own the physical structure. I do think he owns a good chunk of Trump Tower and 7
Yeah.
Wall Street in New York, I think. But yeah, to your point, that's and again, that's why this case, although he's not facing any criminal convictions, but this case is the one that stings him the most because it puts him
Yeah.
because he's always wanted to be in the club. That's why if you read American Compromise, it's a great book because it also talks about his desire to be running with the big dogs in New York. And the only way that he could do that was because he blew through his dad's cash. So he needed people to fund his
Yeah.
development growth, which made
Yeah.
him susceptible, which is why he became compromised. Because it's always
Isn't
been about
that
his brand. Go ahead.
Isn't that the whole crux of this case? This one is that he would devalue his properties when it became tax time, but then he would inflate the price when it,
Right.
when he needed
For
a
loan
loan.
activity. Yes,
Exactly.
correct.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. Yes.
Yep.
That was
That's
succinctly said.
It's a white collar crime. It's a white collar crime. It
Yep.
happens all the time. So that's where, again, Maggie, you think this is just about Trump. It's not. This is a crime that gets prosecuted all the time. This just happens to be the most famous case. So that's just the reality of it. Well, yeah, we'll find out. Hopefully, we find that out tomorrow. We'll find that out tomorrow.
Oh, I hope so. I feel it's coming. I think it's coming tomorrow.
I think so too. I think so too.
And then March 25th, we're going to have his first freaking criminal case.
That's right.
So
That's
the
right.
Alvin Bragg case.
That's exactly right.
And I don't think that's going to be on television, but I would like to fly there and go in there and watch that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we've noticed, I think it's important that we talk about this because we talk about the energy of MAGA and how they're just not showing up because every time up until recently, they were going to show up at courthouses and they were going to be there to protest. They're not showing up. People are
No,
just
they're
not.
not.
They're just not there. They're just not coming. They didn't. He was in New York today. He grew up there. They didn't show up. There were protesters there. So again, that's anecdotal. But if we use past experiences like this as examples, you're seeing people just not showing up, not turning out to support him, try to
Well, they're probably
disassociate.
too broke to travel because they've been sending him his money. So
That's a good point. That's a
That
good point.
too, right?
That's a good point. Yeah, he's $50 million. We know that $50 million from donations went to pay for some of his legal bills. There's another indictment pending having to do with money raised for Stop the Steal and all those and all the election interference cases when he sent out emails asking people to donate money to help fend off this witch hunt. That's illegal. That's mail
Where's
fraud,
that?
good old cybercrime. Yeah. So
where's
I think
that crime?
that
Is that a federal?
it would be, and I have a feeling that indictment's coming too. I've always thought that. So we'll see.
Well, I think it's good days ahead, and I think he is definitely going to be convicted in the Alvin Bragg case. And the civil trial, I think it's going to come out tomorrow. And, all good news, I think. I think it's been a great week for us and a bad week for him. I
Yeah,
think
we
there's
can't.
catch up everywhere.
We agree. We can't stop. We can't take our foot off the gas, though. We got to keep the hammer down.
Absolutely.
Keep the pressure on.
Absolutely. All right, my guys, I won't keep you. Thanks for letting me hop
Fred.
in. And,
Appreciate
all
it.
right. You guys take care.
You too. See you later. Bye.
All right, bye. You have to.
Sorry. I got you. Sorry.
Click.
Sorry. Good evening, Grant. How are you tonight?
All right, how you doing?
Doing good, man. What's on your mind?
I mean, like, regardless of like Trump and all that shit, we're 3 years in to a Biden presidency. He has completely ignored East Palestine. Maui is still completely fucked. Our border is
How about
totally screwed.
Let's take one at a time.
Hold on. Let me finish my point. Our border is screwed. Inflation is at an all-time high. Rent at an all-time high. Gas is at an all-time high. Food is at an all-time high.
Not true.
And also, while ignoring East Palestine and Maui, he's funding 3 wars and actively sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine.
Okay, great. We're gonna stop. Okay, let's go back. So, do you think so? When you say the president's ignoring East Palestine, Ohio, how?
He hasn't visited there once.
Not true. So, do you
No, that
believe?
is true.
No, it's not true. So, how is it the president's responsibility to do that?
When an emergency of that level happens, it is the president's job to show up and be there for the people. Yes.
Is it? Okay, so that's your opinion. I disagree. That's Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, was there very, very often. Why hasn't Mike DeWine, the governor of Ohio, done more? Why isn't he? Why did Mike DeWine turn down federal money?
I could care less. I am seeing the president actively ignore his own people to
Hang on one
fund
second.
Ukraine.
Hang on one second.
Insanity.
Grant, how does money get appropriated? How does that happen?
I don't give a shit. I am actively watching the president of the United States of America
But Grant, you have to understand.
advocate for hundreds of billions of dollars
Grant.
before taking care of Maui and East Palestine.
Grant, you have to understand
There's
how
nothing
government.
else to be said.
Bro, you have to understand how government works.
Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. East Palestine and Maui are suffering right now. Like
Grant.
you couldn't fucking imagine. Everything lost.
Grant,
And
take
you're
a deep
telling
breath.
me
Grant,
Ukraine needs
take
more money?
take a deep breath.
It's
Take a deep breath.
insanity.
Grant, I want you to tell me how the president takes care of Maui and or East Palestine. Tell me how.
He could step in. He could.
How though? Step in, but how? How does money get appropriated in our government?
There is multiple branches of government that he could deploy that could assist these people.
That's not what I said.
There's
How does
these both were
Grant, try to
literally
answer.
natural these are disasters.
Grant, try to answer a question, okay? How does money get appropriated? How does it happen?
You tell me whatever you want to say. Just go ahead.
So do you know first of all, do you know the 3 branches of our government? Do you know what they are?
Yes.
What are they?
The legislative, executive, and what's the fucking third one? Judiciary.
Judicial. Okay, so what is the legislative branch of our government? What is it? What's it comprised of?
I'm not that 100% sure. I mean, I'm not that political.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not very political.
Okay. So the legislative branch in our government, in our system, is the most powerful because it represents the people. Okay? So yes, the president has the power of the veto and all those kinds of things. But to pass legislation, to spend money, requires Congress. The president doesn't have the ability just to send money wherever he wants. So money that's been spent to Ukraine and to Israel and to other countries, we've been doing that forever. That's nothing new. Under the Trump administration,
make it right.
hold on, let me finish. Under the Trump administration, we were still sending money to Israel. We were still sending money.
Listen.
I'm just explaining. Hold on. Grant, I let you talk. I let you talk. Grant, I let you talk.
I'm not talking about
Grant.
President.
Grant, I let you
I'm
talk.
talking about Biden.
Grant, I let you talk. Now I'm talking about how government works, bro. I'm talking about how government works. Do you know why we support Ukraine?
You go ahead and tell me why.
I'm asking you if you know. I'm asking you if you know.
I,
Do you know why
I,
we support?
it's so why we are supporting Ukraine in the war.
Yeah, I want to know. Do you know why we do it? I'm
Because
just
of
curious.
it's because of the NATO agreement and them encroaching or whatever the shit. Like I said, I don't know the exact details. And you go ahead and tell me.
Okay, so are you interested? Are you interested in learning?
I'm not about Ukraine, man. My country, there's Americans that are suffering.
Okay,
and
but
Congress
okay,
met Super Bowl night over a bill over Ukraine, but still, people in the United States are hurting, and President Biden is actively ignoring them.
So
And
how?
that's
So
where
tell
like
me.
his leadership. That's where leadership comes in, man.
Okay,
and the
but
president
Grant, you
and puts
keep
together some type of relief package. Something
Grant,
he does.
Grant,
something.
please stop. Grant, please stop for a second, okay? Seriously. You have to understand how government works. That's why I asked you the question about the three branches, because the way the government works, the president doesn't have the power to appropriate money. It only comes from Congress. Okay? So don't forget, the Republicans and the Democrats in the Senate negotiated a bill for border security, Ukraine funding, Taiwan, Israel, all those kinds of things. Everything the Republicans said that they wanted. Bills that most people on the left, including myself, when it was specifically to Anthony, I'm going to mute you for a second, bro. You got that wicked loud keyboard. The reason that they tried to pass that bill is because the Republicans said that that's what we want. And then when they were presented with that bill, they refused to sign it. The reason that we would fund Ukraine is because of what's referred to as the Budapest Memorandum. It was a treaty that we signed between Ukraine, the U.S., Russia, and the U.K. That if any time Ukraine, if they gave up their nukes, if they were ever invaded or attacked, we would defend them. Russia signed it too. Russia invaded Ukraine. We have an obligation. We are not taking money from one program to fund Ukraine. That money comes from our budget. Our military budget.
Total bullshit.
It's not bullshit. Grant.
So
Grant,
you can sit there
Grant,
and say
hold on,
like this is how
Grant. So
government
tell me where it
works.
comes from then.
Biden is not a good leader.
Then tell me where it comes
He's
from.
not.
Then Grant, tell me where it comes from.
Dude, that money that we are wanting to send to Ukraine is pure insanity.
Tell me where it comes from, Grant. You said you wanted to learn something.
It comes from there. Wherever the fuck they're getting their money from, I don't give a shit. It stops going to Ukraine, and it fucking the country that we live in gets taken care of for once.
You don't want to
Instead
learn
of being owned by private warmongering companies that clearly back all of your politicians.
So Grant, you don't want to learn anything. You said you did. You don't want to learn anything though. That's what you told me. That was bullshit. I literally gave you exactly what we're doing and why. So you don't want to learn. You have a excuse me. You have a narrative in your head. Excuse me. You have a narrative in your head, bro, that you won't let go of, and it's dangerous.
It's obvious. There's billions. Go look at the net worth of the Obamas before and after office. You say Trump's corrupt. He's the only president to lose money. He lost 33% of his entire net worth before and after his presidency.
It's wrong,
That's
Grant.
insane. You guys say he's corrupt.
He made billions. He made billions of dollars. Grant,
go look at a BBC article published in March of 2020.
Okay, I'm muting you. Grant, what you don't understand when you have a conversation, you have to let other people talk. So Trump made billions of dollars when he was in the White House. We know that he received money from China. We know that he received money from Saudi Arabia. We know that his daughter got patents from China expedited and received $40 million. We know that his son-in-law got $2 billion from the Saudis. So if you want to have a conversation, man, I'm trying to have it with you, but you have to understand how things work. And you don't. If you'd like to get informed, if you'd like to try to be an informed voter, then we're here to help. Anthony, you have something you want to say?
Yeah, it's really important when having a conversation that we establish some baseline facts first. Governor DeWine specifically asked President Biden not to show up on multiple occasions. President DeWine, or Governor DeWine, also took 6 months, despite the federal government prodding him, to declare a national emergency. And even after that, he still refused to take money. He also refused to hold the railroad industry responsible, and his party, which is the GOP, is the party that is solely responsible for reducing regulations that would have prevented this. One would be insisting on new types of tankers to transport toxic liquids. So that's the first thing. Whether or not a president shows up, it's the responsiveness of a leader that makes someone a leader.
Correct.
Immediately, boots were on the ground. The Department of Transportation, led by Secretary Buttigieg, who was the appropriate person to be there, was there on the ground. FEMA was there on the ground. All of the resources of the federal government were at the disposal of the governor of Ohio. He chose not to accept federal help. So
It was a complete shit show.
you cannot make, the federal government cannot tell a governor what to do. So because the governor refused to take help and to accept funding, you have what you have. So this lies at the feet of the governor.
He allowed the lawyers of the companies to go around and force the uninformed, ignorant residents of that town to sign pieces of paper stating that if they would never be able to have future lawsuits against them.
You have proof of that, Grant?
It's a fact. Go talk to some of the people in East Palestine. Have you talked to any of them? Do you know what they've gone through?
Can you please
Do
understand
you follow any of them on TikTok?
Hey,
Have
Grant.
you heard any of their stories?
Grant, Anthony just literally just gave you the breakdown, which is where I was trying to get you to understand the conversation. You can blame the lack of response in East Palestine to the governor of that state.
Whatever. Biden has no character. He has no leadership. He has no fucking story.
So you just
strong
literally
values.
want to come
He has
up here
nothing.
and
He
talk about
stands
your
for nothing.
feelings, how you
Hey,
feel about
It's
things.
not how I feel. It's
Yeah,
how
it is.
he
It is how
behaves.
you
I
feel.
watch
It is how you
I don't
feel. Grant,
listen
it's
to
how
what
you
he
feel.
says.
No,
I
Grant, it's how
watch
you
his
feel.
actions, what he
Grant,
does.
hey, Grant, let's take a
And he
let's
is
take a step.
consistently
Grant, let's
not
take a
there
step.
for
Let's
the
take a step.
people.
Let's take
And
a
you
step
guys
back a
are
second.
defending him.
Grant,
It's
let's take a step back a
disgusting.
second. Grant, what did you have for dinner tonight? Let's take a step back. What did you have for dinner tonight?
A steak dinner?
Nobody gives a fuck. See you later.
It's really interesting. This guy comes up here. First of all, his audio system sucks. Whatever he's talking through sounded like a toilet paper tube. Maybe he was having some pre-spun fun and blowing it through a fabric softener in a toilet paper tube. Not that I know anything about dorm room tactics and how things shouldn't smell, but there you go, kids. There's a hint for you. He came up here, right? This guy's got over 5,000 followers, right? He came up here. I don't know a lot about politics, but then continues to talk about politics. I don't really know how things are going, but I'm going to talk about my feelings as if I know how things are going. And then when he said, well, do you follow anyone from East Palestine on TikTok? First of all, I don't think I've ever seen anybody specifically having lives about East Palestine within the last, I don't know, year almost since it happened, right? So
yeah, well,
I'm trying to figure out like what does that mean? And then when he was talking about Maui, here's the thing that people like him just don't seem to understand. The problem in Maui is capitalism, specifically white people going over to Hawaiians' land and buying land up, right? People like Zuckerberg that owns property, people like Jeff Bezos, right? Going there and preventing affordable housing for Hawaiians, right? If you want to know how I can speak on this, feel free to DM me and I'll tell you about how I went to Mauna Kea to protect the elders. I didn't see you there. I saw myself there. There's recordings of me there. There's photographic evidence of me there because I'm a warrior for the people. I go where I am asked to go to protect people. So I don't want to hear some random dude telling me about Maui when he can't even understand what the problem is. There is a grave infrastructure problem on those islands because the United States government allowed capitalism to take over land that wasn't theirs. And
Correct.
this is what happens when you let that happen.
That's
It is an
exactly right.
absolute shame that we have actual native Hawaiians that can't afford to live on their own land.
That's exactly right.
So let's try to get facts. And that's why I was telling you about the governor of Ohio. His loyalty to Trump was so important that he was literally taking marching orders from the GOP about what to do, how to do it, what to say, because he wanted Biden to look bad. And then he wanted to be able to turn around and go, well, Biden didn't show up. Let me explain something to guys like that was just up here. An effective leader has people around them that know how to take action on behalf of the president. So when the president calls a meeting and says, you, and you go there, they're there as fast as a plane will get them there, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happens every single time with every single president. As a matter of fact, most of the time in a natural disaster, when people look back with
You don't
their
want them
loved-
there.
they don't want them there because
Exactly.
it prevents emergency aid from traveling. It blocks roads. It blocks airports. It does the complete opposite of what you want to do in an emergency. Hey, whoever you are with the left wing echo chamber, we're either going to mute you or make you come up. Let's see if you got enough followers. 1,163. Yerrick 40K. Jump in the box, bro, or get the boot. That's it. I'm done with you.
So it's easy. So again, it's easy. This is the problem. This is why, and I've talked to you guys about this before about the right wing MAGA. So our previous guest will go into another live, and he'll talk about the things about how he owned the libs. And what I was trying to do is educate him on how our government works. So the claim he made about Maui, there's the president is only authorized to initiate a $700 check under the law.
That's it.
That's how it works. That's all they can do. So Grant wanted, I think whatever his name was, wanted the president to go to the facility or to the location where the natural disaster was, because he thinks that's leadership. I'll remind him that Donald Trump went to Puerto Rico and claimed that he met the president of Puerto Rico, who, by the way, is him, and tossed paper towels to the citizens of Puerto Rico. Is that what you want? He also said that he met with the president of the Virgin Islands. He's the president of the Virgin Islands. I prefer leadership as Anthony described. That's what you're supposed to do. You surround yourself with the best people, and you make those people better by supporting them in their decisions. That's how it works. Once again, if you're not interested in learning, then I don't know what to tell you. That's how government works. Does our government drop the ball at times? All the fucking time. No doubt about it. But you have to understand how it works. That's really, really important. And people like that are just not interested. And we can't help. There's nothing we can do about that. We cannot help. Can't help.
Yeah.
Another special guest. Good evening to you, friend.
Good evening. I just wanted to say to Grant, what they think a president is king, which is why they want Trump back, and that's why they don't care if he's going to be a dictator. They want him to do what they want him to do. Be damned for the rules, be damned for the way things go. They want him to get things done. Just like he wants Biden to just give money to Hawaii, give money to, East Palestine, give money. He's not a king. He's not a supreme ruler. We have checks and balances. That's why the House controls the purse.
Right.
That's why he signs, they create the laws. He signs them or vetoes them. He doesn't draft any of them.
Right.
So, it's disingenuous to constantly blame Joe Biden because he didn't give them this kind of money. And as far as Ukraine, the money is also allocated through the Congress for Ukraine.
Correct.
Based on the Budapest memorandum.
Which is why they're not getting funding now, because the Republicans refuse to do it because they're Putin sympathizers.
Yeah. Exactly. And another thing that I get so upset and irritated with MAGA, which, shocker. But They constantly are talking about, I don't care about Ukraine. I don't care about Israel. I don't care about Taiwan. I don't care about any. We have people here who need help. That's
Yeah.
right. We do. And you know what? Every fucking time we try to put legislation out to help people, Republicans vote against it because they call it socialism.
That's right.
So they complain about the problem and bitch and moan constantly about how veterans, there's homeless people, there's homeless veterans, there's this, there's that, but they won't do anything. And if they go look at congress.gov and they look how the Republicans have actually voted on issues for veterans, on issues for homeless, on SNAP and food benefits to actually help people,
Right.
they vote against it every single time.
Thank you, Diva. I appreciate that. The reason I brought up 40, because 40, you said that, check it out, y'all, the Biden impeachment. Anything you would like to tell us that we don't know?
Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, I saw on the TV that the sources of the Department of Justice, they have a liar on there. The DOJ is about to charge Biden, somebody trying to lie on Biden. The DOJ is about to charge him.
Okay, so where did you get your information from, 40?
I just saw it on CNN breaking news. It said sources of Department of Justice Department. Sources of Justice Department. I don't know offhand.
Okay, so you don't know what you're talking about, but you made a claim in the chat that Biden's getting impeached.
No, he's not being impeached. The
That's
people
what you
that
said.
are trying, the people that are trying to impeach him, they caught a person lying, and the DOJ wants to call him in for his lies. That is lying on Biden.
Yeah, so the informant federally criminally charged with lying about Hunter and Joe Biden, so-called seven-figure payment bribes from Burisma to both of them are lies. So the entire game that the Republicans had to try to impeach Joe Biden were based on lies, and the guy got busted.
Yeah, that's basically what they're saying is the DOJ wants to talk to that person that was lying.
Yeah.
So I'm not arguing. Like me, I'm all for Biden, dude. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I just saw some breaking news. I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for that. Wasn't sure.
No,
Thanks, 40. Appreciate that. Thank you,
no problem, man. Y'all have a good night.
You too, brother. Later.
All right. Go.
Bye. So
That's what I was trying to say. This is what we discussed really early on, right?
Yeah.
Is it's the Smirnov.
Smirnoff.
Mr. Smirnov.
I drank Smirnoff in the 80s. What the heck? No, 90s, not in the 80s. I was too young. But I watched
I drank it in the 80s.
I watched the entire Georgia Fani Willis testimony today from beginning to end. I listened to the whole entire thing. And the one thing that confounds me a little bit is the merchants, the woman lawyer and the guy next to her. They're married. They work for the same law firm. And why are they trying to impugn her character for her having a boyfriend with him when they just worked in the same office? She's married to her co-counsel.
Right. You're absolutely right. So that's a really good observation. They are trying to impugn her character, and that's not what this hearing was about. This hearing was simply about whether or not there was financial improprieties. That's all. That's all the judge said. That's all I need to see. Did Nathan Wade and or Fani Willis, did they benefit improperly from their relationship? That's what this entire thing is about. That's why the judge slapped them down so much. And I want to address a question that somebody asked earlier. The reason so many people were questioning her is because multiple defendants are in the RICO case, and they all are represented by counsel. So that's why they were all able to ask her questions. That's why.
Yeah, they had Rudy Giuliani's a lawyer was there, which he got shut down. The judge told him to sit down. He was halfway through a question. He told him to sit down.
Yeah.
Only hiring the best. I bet Rudy don't have much money, so.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is
Rudy better call Sal.
He cooperated because he testified. She didn't listen to his testimony because I asked her if she heard his testimony. She didn't. She said she was in her office the entire day. She didn't hear it. She didn't listen in or anything. And she gave the exact account of their relationship, of their travels, of their everything, exactly the way he did.
Yeah.
I mean, with a little difference. Like he said, their relationship ended in May of 2023, and she said probably June or July, but they actually had the talk in August. So there was a few things that were a little different, but still the same area. So they are credible. And there's been nothing inappropriate about what she said. Everything they tried to ask her about, she gave a master class on how to testify and shut them down and make them look so damn stupid.
You know, it really bothered me, I must say, from some of the coverage I had, and some of the people, primarily white men, said, you know, she was really emotional. I mean, again,
They always do that, especially to women and especially black women. They say, oh, she's angry. She's got an attitude.
I know.
I mean, that's a trope as old as time
I know.
about black women, because if they have an opinion or God forbid they have emotions or have feelings, it's considered aggressive or angry. When I see the Republican men standing up on the House floor screaming and yelling and practically getting into brawls with each other, but nobody calls them out on their emotional behavior.
I know. It's disgusting. I know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll buckle up. We got a long way to go on that. She'll testify again tomorrow morning, and we'll see what happens. But
Yeah,
thank
I'm
you
gonna
for that
watch it again
recap.
tomorrow. I listen to it while I'm working because I can.
Nice. That's awesome.
But she was great. She did really, really well today, and I think that she was credible. I think that, you know, she even told the way her dad raised her, how, you know, black people always have money in their house. I didn't know that.
Me neither. I didn't know that either.
But everybody, I was on Twitter and everyone's like, yeah, like all the people of color that were on Twitter were like, yeah, we all have, whether it's a coffee tin or it's under your mattress or it's somewhere, they have money in their house.
Yeah.
And I loved
I've got
her
three
line.
kids. I don't have any.
I loved her mom. I loved the line when she said, a man is not a plan. He's just a companion. Oh, because she's like, I don't need any man to pay my way. I don't need any man to take care of me. The only man that's ever taken care of me was my dad. And he said, otherwise, I pay my own bills. I pay everything. And I just loved it when she said that. I said, oh, that's so good.
She's badass. Thank you for the update, my friend. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no worries.
Diva.
Bye. Good night.
Later, buddy. Take care.
Grant is still in the comments chirping away. This is amazing.
He can chirp all he wants to. Let him do his thing. He's lonely. He needs help.
Yeah. Do you need a friend, Grant? Maybe I'll follow you.
Hey, Derek.
Just
How
so
are
I
you
can
tonight?
dog walk you.
Hey, Derek. Derek. Derek.
Yes.
Hi.
Hey,
What's on your mind tonight?
I'm a novice at this, but I watched the entire proceedings today.
Okay. And?
Right? And, you know, I was kind of going back and forth a little bit.
Okay.
And I think that I'm not really sure how the proceedings go. So my personal opinion is that the defense is laying groundwork that cannot be denied if it goes to trial.
What do you mean? The defense is laying groundwork. Trying to poison the jury pool?
What about, okay, so what's been killing me all day is that they started on the fact that the whole DC thing. Have you ever been to DC? Have you ever been to DC together? Have you ever been to DC together? Whatever. But it's a known fact that they both have been to the White House, included
Derek. So, Derek, you just said it's a known fact. So how do you know that, Derek?
because I've seen documents on the fact that they've been to the White House.
Where can we find those documents, Derek? Where do you see those? Where can we find those?
I haven't seen them. I just know that they exist.
Derek, you just said you saw them.
Okay. So I told you I'm a novice at this. So if I'm only bringing it to the point,
Well,
if you choose to look into it, I
but
mean,
Derek,
isn't there a register, a log?
okay, right. But Derek, here's the
If
problem. Derek,
if
hang on a second.
no,
Derek,
hold on a
Derek,
second, hold on.
Derek. No, Derek. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay.
See, this is how this works. If you're a novice at this, let me tell you how this works. So you just made a claim. You said it's a proven fact. You know for a fact that she and Nathan Wade went to the White House, and you said there's documents, and I've seen them. And I said, where are these documents? How can I see them? Then you said, well, I didn't actually see them. So if you're
Well,
making a claim, bro, why would you make a claim like that without the ability to back it up?
haven't they been there?
Answer my question.
Hey, did you watch? Did you watch? Did you
They
watch?
said DC. I did. They said DC. Okay, they
Yeah,
said DC. They didn't
exactly,
say the
and
White.
that's where
Yeah, but they both.
we're
Hold on,
bringing it
Derek.
to.
Derek.
Okay,
They
I'm
both.
I'm not
Derek.
being over.
They both testified to the fact that they've been to DC, but
No,
never
no,
together.
no, they did not.
Derek, they did.
No,
They
they did
did.
not.
Yes, she actually talked about it. She went there.
She
She went there
started
to speak.
saying that she was there for a speech or doing something else, but
That's the DC. Yeah, exactly. That's
if
what she
they
said.
log, if there's a log that they have been to the White House, they're so toast.
Why?
There's collusion there.
So what's the definition? What's the definition of collusion, Derek?
Well, I mean, they're colluding with the
But
the White House.
what does collusion mean, Derek?
They're combining their information with the White House in order to prosecute Donald Trump, basically.
Okay. So first of all, the Georgia charges are state charges. They're not federal, Derek.
Exactly, but it's all relative.
Why is it relevant? You mean relevant?
Well, okay, it's basically the same thing.
Okay, it's not. So let's unpack this a little bit, Derek, because you said a lot of same things. First of
Okay,
all,
so you want to speak
well,
more precise to what
no,
I can speak.
I think the facts are important. So let's try to unpack this a little bit, okay? Because
Okay.
first of all, you made some claims that I think you were either lying or whatever, because you said you saw the documents. Now you know you didn't see the documents, Derek. So
No,
just say
it's
Derek,
it's been aired.
Derek,
That's all I'm saying.
Derek. You said you saw the documents. 800 people in here, we could ask them all, and they would all say, "Yeah, Derek, you said that." So you said you saw the document. You didn't see the document
I
because there is
didn't
no
say
document.
I saw the documents. I saw that
You did.
it's been
You did.
aired.
No,
That
Derek, you said you saw the document.
okay, so
Look what the chat's saying, bro. I said that. Yeah, Derek, you said that. So you said it, okay? So people are listening. So there is no document. So just admit that you didn't see anything. It's okay. You made a mistake. Say,
I
okay, I made a
didn't
mistake.
see a document. I saw it on basically television that they told me that
Okay. They told you. Who told you?
relevant.
Who told you?
It was on TV,
Which TV, Derek?
Newsmax.
Bro. Okay. Thank you for being honest. One second, Anthony. Thank you for being honest about the fact that you watch Newsmax. Newsmax is not a very reputable source, Derek.
I pretty much found it that, but I mean, hey.
Okay,
I mean,
so
it's not CNN.
I don't watch CNN, but Newsmax is not a very reputable source, man. They are built on conspiracy theories and lies. And my fear is that you believe it, and you probably get a lot of your news from there, right?
I don't trust many others, but I do collude online.
Collude. You collaborate.
Okay.
Okay. Anthony, did you have something you wanted to say, bro?
I did 4 different searches. I find nothing in today's testimony related to a visit in the White House. There was talk about a meeting in, I think it was 2022, between Nathan and some White House staff. Who knows what that could have been? I mean, lots of people have been to the White House, but that was in 2022.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it's
so
something about he was speaking to witnesses, right? So as a part of his job, he met with White House staff to speak to witnesses. So that's related to his job. That's not colluding. And there's no evidence that I can find on the visiting of the White House. I'm not quite sure. I know that the White House does indeed have a log of visitors. I'm trying to find where I could do a quick search, but unfortunately, there's not a quick search.
So Derek, I'm going to do you a solid here, bro. I'm going to do you a big favor. Okay, there's a website that you can go to. It's called Media Bias Fact Check. Okay, and basically what it is, it's an independent agency, and what they do is they score all the various media sources that are out there. So I'm going to score Newsmax for you. I'm not going to score. I'm going to let they score. Okay. So what they do when you do this is it gives you a score as to the credibility of your source. Okay. So they give you they give you an overall score. First of all, they classify Newsmax as extreme right and very low in factual reporting, conspiracy theories, pseudoscience, propaganda, fake news, failed fact checks, and very low credibility.
Okay,
hold on, wait. I'm not done.
Okay.
So that's my concern. If that's where you're getting the news and you see that as the truth, then you're allowing yourself to believe the lies, which is exactly what they want you to believe.
Okay, I accept that. Okay, I
great.
do. However, I do get my sources elsewhere. But
like what?
What do you recommend I look to for actual truth?
I would suggest
unbiased.
Well, there's no such thing as unbiased, Derek, because everybody has a bias. It has to do with the type of reporting. So you can be biased and still be factual. Okay,
so I would. That's the crazy thing, man.
Right.
That's
I would recommend
what
I would recommend to you. I would recommend to you. I would recommend the Associated Press, AP. I would recommend Politico. I would recommend Reuters. I would also recommend ABC News if you're looking for a broadcast journalism. I would also look at the BBC. You could look at Al Jazeera. There's all kinds of reputable sources. My concern for you, Derek, is that you've allowed yourself to believe all these lies that are so easily debunked.
They're not really lies, though.
They are.
Come on.
They're lies.
You can't
They're lies.
completely say they're lies.
They're lies.
They may only push an agenda, but they can't be pushing lies.
Okay, well they can
come on.
because they're not monitored. They can. So here's the thing. Let's remember what happened. Were you ever a Fox News watcher, Derek?
I was until I distrusted them.
Right, because they lied.
Yeah, they did. I knew.
Right.
Once the Israeli situation started, and people were acting, and the Hawaiian situation, they brought people on and stated, "Oh, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, it wasn't." No, it was an anomaly. It was what it was.
Right, but I guess my point to you, Derek, is that you just said that they can't lie, and Fox literally got sued for $750 million
Yeah,
for
but
lying.
that money went from one hand to another, and was all the same entities that they lost it from. So that's not really. That's not
so
really
are you talking about BlackRock?
That's not really the case. It's
Are you
all relevant.
Wait. Are you talking about BlackRock?
BlackRock.
Yeah. Are you talking about Fox News Corp and Dominion? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's what you were talking about. But
okay,
yeah.
so here's the thing, Derek. So you believe that Fox News Corp owns Dominion Voting? Is that what you believe, or vice versa? That Dominion owns Fox News Corp? Because that's the lie you've been told.
No,
I got the news for you.
No, BlackRock and there's like three major people that maintain and own the entire country.
Right, but are you saying? Because I've been waiting for this actually.
Wait,
Derek, wait, bro, hold on. Derek, no,
yes,
no. So Fox News Corp was sued by Dominion Voting Systems. Dominion Voting Systems was sued Fox News Corp. Fox News Corp paid Dominion Voting Systems. Now,
exactly, but
wait. Let me finish, Derek. Derek, let me finish. Derek,
that
let
wasn't.
me Derek, let me finish.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, you are trying to draw the connection because, again, another lie that you've been told. Because Dominion Energy is an entirely separate company from Dominion Voting Systems. And that is another lie that you've been told that you've allowed yourself to believe.
Dominion Energy is a relevant energy source here in North Carolina. So
right, but they've got nothing to do. But they've got nothing to do with Dominion Voting Systems.
I get that. However, what I'm saying is that those companies are all intertwined.
They're not. They're entirely separate, Derek. This is my point, man. This is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. This is why it's dangerous to get the news, because I've seen that story. I've seen that perpetuated online. Unfortunately, it hit your brain too. They're entirely separate. Dominion Energy has come out with statements saying we have nothing to do with Dominion Voting. They're entirely separate companies. Entirely separate.
I never even thought that they were connected. So I mean,
but you made the connection now because you said Dominion Voting and they're all connected. They're not, because the claim that you made was they sued themselves.
They did.
They did.
From the higher ups. Who owns the country? What conglomerates of these companies own everything in every grocery store, every entire entity that we even consume from?
Derek, again,
it's all relevant.
Bro, it's not relevant because you want to connect the dots on something that can't be connected. Okay? This is the danger of conspiracy theories, man. This is the danger, because the claim that you made was the Dominion Fox sued themselves, so they just got the money back. That's just not what happened, man. That's just not what happened. That's not the reality here. Okay?
So the company that who is the company that owns Dominion?
Dominion owns Dominion.
No, they're not a set-alone. They're not a set-alone company.
Dominion Voting Systems.
That really isn't the case. I'm being sincere here, man. I mean, if you really want to talk about this,
you're being sincere. It's one thing to be sincere.
I'm just a guy, man. I'm just a guy.
I understand.
I
understand. Okay, baseless claims about. I'm going to read you something. Are you prepared? You ready?
I'm prepared.
You want to learn? Okay.
Yes, that's what I want to.
Okay, so baseless claims. Baseless claims about Dominion voting systems have been fully debunked by election authorities, subject matter experts, and third-party fact checkers. Dominion is a U.S. company headquartered in Colorado, has no ownership ties to George Soros, foreign leaders, no financial ties to the Chinese government, or U.S. political leaders. Dominion and Smartmatic are a separate company. Dominion does not use or license Smartmatic software. Thousands of 2020 election audits and recounts have validated the accuracy and reliability of results and confirmed the integrity of Dominion's technology. There are no connections at all whatsoever. Here's a new one. Dominion, Fox News and Dominion Voting not owned by the same company, contrary to online posts. BlackRock Investment Company does not own Dominion Voting Systems. No, Ron DeSantis did not receive $2 million from a bank owned by Dominion Voting Systems. Viral Post makes misleading claims about Brian Kemp, his debt, and Dominion. My point here is there's been so many conspiracy theories, Derek, that have been debunked, and you yourself have believed them.
Okay.
So I hope you're being sincere, because so hold on. So why would I try to continue to mislead you?
I'm not really sure. I just jumped onto this chat, and I
Okay,
just think
that's
that
that's fine. But
that there's
what I'm trying what I'm
underlying theories of why the country is going to the wayside
okay.
because
So who
every
did you?
but I mean, don't you see that? Um, okay, so let's just choose BlackRock.
No, I want to go back. I want to go back to what I just broke down for you because
Okay,
you
okay.
made you made the claim that they're all one and the same, and I literally just went through. I did the work for you. I was
A
happy to
lot
do it.
of them are in
Wait,
the same in
Derek,
order to.
Derek, please don't deflect. Okay, you made the claim specifically about Dominion, and we just debunked that. I debunked it with you. I did it for you. Okay, so can we move on to something else because that has been debunked, Derek?
Okay,
Okay.
okay. I have
Okay.
to do my research again, and then we can maybe I'll follow you
Okay.
and see it again.
Okay.
However, I mean, are you in a disagreement that there's only like 3 companies that that own the entire industry that we live in?
I'm in disagreement. I'm in disagreement on the premise of the question. Now, do I believe that there are certain companies that have way too much power and influence in our country? Absolutely. But it's not a conspiracy that everything is connected. Okay?
But what do we do about disconnecting
I
that
didn't hear
from the
I didn't hear your
power?
question.
What do we do about disconnecting from those powers?
Well, that's
I
capitalism, Derek.
mean, it's not great for the country. It's
No,
not.
that's capitalism, though, Derek. That's capitalism.
Yeah, but we have to fight against part
Yeah.
of that because it's not good for the country because that's where our inflation, well, not our inflationary numbers come
Yeah,
from.
you're right.
It's corporate greed.
You're absolutely right, Derek.
But
That's
what do we do
capitalism.
about that? But what do we do
Well,
about
what we do about it is we stop voting for Republicans, for one.
it? God.
That's why. You asked. So Derek, here's a question for you, Derek.
Okay, okay.
Here's a question for you.
In
Here's
your
a question.
best speed,
Derek,
what can
slow
you
down.
see me?
Derek, slow down. I'm gonna
Okay,
ask you a
okay,
question.
okay.
What party? I gotta mute you, Anthony. You got a lot of background noise, bro. Sorry. Um, um, what party, Derek, do you think is better economically for America, and why?
I think Republican
Okay,
because
why?
one, okay, first and foremost, and main reason why when I was, I don't know, 12, 14 years old, when I thought that strongly about it, it was smaller government.
Okay. So would it blow your mind to know that since 1933, our country has done exponentially better under Democrats than Republicans?
As far as smaller government,
No, just the economy.
no,
Growth.
I only want to know about smaller government because
Okay,
all
that's
we
my
do is keep putting money in the pot
right.
for
So who's doing
for
it?
the government,
But
and
who's doing
now we're 23 million plus.
no 34 trillion?
No, 23 million plus as far as government employees.
Okay. Okay.
23 million.
So Derek,
That's a very
Derek,
large number as far as our total
Derek,
number.
bro, we can't talk if you keep talking over me. Stop. Okay.
Well, I
One
was
thing at a
just trying
time.
to make a point, and I didn't want
But
to like
Derek,
it.
no, you have to listen. So I'm trying to provide you. I'm trying to do some work here for you, man. I'm staying on longer because I want to have this conversation with you because it's important. Okay. So you believe that the Republican Party is about small government. I heard you say that. Here's the problem with that. They're not, and they haven't been for 50 years. It's Republicans that have put the majority of our debt. It's Republicans that drive inflation because they, like you said, they support corporations. Here's a question for you, Derek. If you had $50,000, what's a better investment? Buying a new car or putting that into your house?
Put it into my house.
Republicans buy the new car. Democrats put it into the house.
Why? I mean, why would that not bring you more money?
Okay, well, I just asked you the question, Derek. I just asked you what you would rather do with your money. And you said you would rather invest in your house. So would I. So would Anthony. So why are Republicans buying new cars?
Well, because they could write it off.
Derek, stay with me, bro. We're talking about what's the better investment.
I just told you.
Okay, but the Republicans are buying the new cars, man. They're the ones that are buying the new cars. They're the ones that are giving tax breaks to the richest. They're the ones that are propping up corporations by ignoring their tax crimes. They're the ones that don't want to increase the IRS's resources to go after tax cheats. They're the ones that want to go after your Social Security and your retirement. They're the ones that are the party of big government. Now, you have in your head, like a lot of conservatives do, that the Republican Party is about small government and fiscal responsibility, but they're not, man. You don't have to believe me. I really don't care if you do. I hope you do, but you can find this information out for yourself if you're doing a little bit of work. I just did some work for you, and I really want to challenge you as a voter to say, maybe I've been wrong. You can look at Department of Labor statistics from 1933, quick search, whether it be DuckDuckGo or Google or whatever it is. You will see for yourself that the Democrats employ more people, interest rates are lower, more houses are built, the economy just does better overall. Overall. Now, I know that surprises you because that goes against the narrative that you have, because you believe the Republicans are more responsible and fiscally responsible, but they're not. I've provided evidence, Jack. I don't know where you've been. Anyway, Department of Labor, since 1933, economy grows 4.6% under Democrats, 2.4% under Republicans.
Wow. Okay, so I'll follow you and see what you have to say. But I mean, I'm kind of blown away right now. If what you're telling me is true, because I mean, I'm only looking at your face and saying that you look like an honest kind of guy, but I'm not sold.
Okay. So that's fair. That's fair, Derek.
I'll follow you and I'll watch your videos and whatever, and I'll follow your videos. But most Democrats come off like harsh, like you're fucking crazy, you're fucking stupid, you're whatever, you know. And that's it. If you want to try to change our minds, that's totally not the way to go. And it just makes me think that the DNC is paying people in order to for you to push propaganda. That's just that's my thought process. You can take it for what it's worth.
Do you think that? So you can. I'm not. You know, you can see my face. I can't see yours. I haven't asked you to turn your camera on. But do you think the DNC is paying me?
I don't think so. I mean, honestly, you look like an honest guy. I mean, and you know, you'll make me think. How about that?
That's all we can ask for. That's because I think the role of a citizen in our country to participate in our democracy is you've got to be able to critically analyze. Like I said, if you want to choose to not believe me and stay in that bubble, because again, bro, you admitted to me that you're getting your news from Newsmax. That's dangerous. That's really, really dangerous. Okay. You also try to make a connection between Dominion being the same company and they just sued themselves, and we just debunked that. So those are two things that you've had in your head that we could easily disprove. You've also been believing, and you're not alone in this, a lot of people believe that Republicans are better for the economy, and they're just not. They're just not. There is absolutely no traditional KPI that you can point, key performance indicator, KPI, that you can point to that would say the Republicans are better for our economy. They're just not. So I want to take you at your word. I'll follow you back. I want to take you at your word. I want you to do a little bit of work though, man. I really do. It's really important because this is critical. Because if you're walking around thinking that it's the Democrats that are screwing you over in the economy, you're just wrong, man. You're just wrong.
Oh, I'm 57, and I've felt that way my entire life. So if I were wrong in this whole thought process, then I guess maybe I'm a little bit defeated.
It's okay, man.
I
Don't be
mean,
defeated. Don't be defeated. Don't feel defeated. That's not the intention here, right? And I know that there are a lot of people who do this that are on my side of the aisle that can get screaming and yelling and calling you out. I match energy. That's what Anthony and I agreed to do when we do this. We match energy. But I can say the same thing when I go into right-wing lives. It turns into chaos. So I appreciate how sincere you are. We do this every night, 6 to 9 p.m. We'll be back here tomorrow night. If you want to come back and talk again, in the meantime, if you would do me a favor and just literally type this into a search bar, economic performance, Democrats versus Republicans since 1933.
all right, I'll do that.
Okay, and then figure it out yourself. And then if you see information in there, if you find things that you're surprised by, come on back and talk. I've been doing this for a little while. I grew up kind of paying attention to this kind of stuff, Derek. Again, I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm just saying do some research, come back, and we can talk again. Fair enough?
Appreciate it. I do. Because, I'm only seeking the truth. And I hate that's one of my main pet peeves in life is people lying to me. And I feel as though somebody's been lying to me. And that you've brought up good points. So
yeah, thank you. I mean, again, man, this is on all of us though. It sucks to be lied to, but you know how we really grow as humans? We accept the fact that we might be wrong, and then we grow. So you're welcome to come back anytime, Derek.
I just followed you, and I'll be back.
I got you back, brother. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow night. Come on back.
All right, man. Later.
Thanks. See you later. All right.
Hey, real quick. Be cautious, be careful. The talking points are alt-right, anti-Semitic talking points. I already looked several of them up. So he may be connected to people that may be poisoning his mind. I'm not going to say he's in that world, but all of the dog whistles were setting off red flags for me. That's why I was trying to get your attention by making noise on purpose. So if you hear me making a lot of clutter, consider that a safe word, right? I would hope he's being sincere, but let's be cautious. Because when you start doing the whole, there are only 3 companies, blah, 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 that is all completely alt-right, anti-Semitic bullshit, right? And so...
I don't disagree with that. I think and you and I, we've spoken to many who've taken it to the next level with anger and vitriol. So it's one thing to believe that. I believe in Derek's case, and I'm given the benefit of the doubt at this point that he's just been convinced of that. So I think there's an opportunity. We'll see. But fair enough. All right. So, well, thank you.
And with that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, are we going to wrap it up? Because I got to go hang out with Jen before I get in trouble.
What's on your mind?
Real quick, I think this was a fantastic live tonight. I think we were able to get a lot of actual factual information out there. There was a lot of interesting comments in the chat. I wish we could get more people up in the box. This still makes me believe that we've reached everyone we can reach. So, let's try to keep this going. I think this was a fantastic idea, the way you laid it out tonight. And perhaps this is a formula, right? And I think, look, if we could reach a couple of people, right, in one live, then I think we've done work. Again, you are correct. We only match energy, right? We're not here to tell people they're stupid. We are here. Howie DeWitt, you don't want to debate me, Anthony. Bro, I got to go take care of my wife. whose mother passed and who was just buried yesterday. So how about you go fuck yourself, number one, and two, come up tomorrow night. I'd be happy to debate you.
Well done. Thank you, Anthony. My best to Jen. Give her a hug for me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all. Peace out.
Yeah, later, man. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, mods, as usual. Guys are doing a fantastic job. I really, really appreciate that. I have the best mods on planet Earth. I don't care what any of y'all say. I'll fight you over it. There is a new link tree in my bio. There's information about how you can register to vote. It's tagged as Rock the Vote. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a couple of ways to do that in there. This is about information, friends, and I hope that people will take this as an opportunity to learn. If you don't want to learn, then I don't know what's the point. I look to learn every day. And I'll throw this out to MAGA. Imagine the opportunity to come up to the box and prove me or Anthony wrong. Go for it. Love y'all. Thank you. See you tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Good night.